time I do the clap, I feel really energized, man. In a weird way. I feel like a wolf.
Yeah, man.
I think it's because you guys do it together.
That's true. Yeah, we kind of synced in with the clap.
Yeah.
It's a good beginning,
Yeah, man.
For sure.
What's up, man? Aniket?
What's up, guys?
One of my oldest friends, and I'm super happy to maintain my friendship with you all this time. What's up, bro?
Yeah, bro.
Super important.
I think we've spoken about this before as well.
That we're gonna be on the podcast together.
Yeah, I
someday.
think long ago, in fact.
Before the idea of podcast even came, or even we started.
Because I think in the last couple of years or something, you've actually been in and out of this idea. Like you've been thinking about it, or something similar to this.
Yeah, something related to putting content out there, some kind of content. Initially, we thought like we'll do something like Dhruv Rathi is doing, put more research material about politics, economics. But I think podcast seems more fun. We have our friends here. We're just talking about life in general.
Well, I'm really glad you went ahead with this anyway, because I think you've been thinking about it for a long time now.
Yeah,
so it's a good initiative.
Pretty long time.
Have you guys had these conversations before? Like in terms of just starting a podcast or
I
doing
think
something like
since
that? I didn't know about it.
Yeah.
Since childhood, we always have conversations about this kind of stuff.
How long have you guys known each other for?
I think more than a decade.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
Nice, like old friends, bro.
Yeah.
No new friends.
More than a decade, staying in the same sub-city, Dwarka.
Yeah. For a long period of time, staying as neighbors, almost neighbors. I think a kilometer apart.
A kilometer apart for sure, man.
How important is it for guys to have guy friends? Really important. Just to have those buddies with you who you can count on, you know?
Yeah, and maintain it, man, for a long period of time.
I think as long as one has friends.
Yeah, dude. Do you know anybody who doesn't have friends? Like a guy who doesn't have friends? You know, imagine being a guy who's just sitting in his room somewhere right now and he doesn't have any friends. I hope you're listening to this so that, you know, we can be friends with you maybe, you know, someone,
I think
some loner
people,
out there
but some
who's just
people
scratching
like
his balls.
being introvert. Like, some people like keeping to themselves.
But they still have one friend. They'll have one person they'll be sharing their emotions
I think they define friendship differently. Because for us, it's this emotional huge bond. I think it isn't that deep to many people. Like I've seen a lot of people who travel alone chronically, like for a long period of times during very
chronically.
Sounds like you may travel a disease or don't go near that guy. It's going to be traveling contagiously. You're going to start traveling like that guy.
Well, we see a chronic smoker. I'm not a chronic traveler.
Dude, I'm pretty sure, especially after the whole social media disease the human civilization has been hit by, there are a bunch of chronic travelers, bro. They can't stop traveling, man.
After
I think, and especially
after social media, just people just want to post pictures of their travels. People want to talk about travels. There's so many travel influencers.
And you never know if they're still traveling or they're posting pictures from the past travels.
I do that all the time. I post pictures of my past travels, and I don't do it to like show people that I'm traveling or something. But then there are some pictures that I never posted, and I want them to be on the internet and not on my phone because my phone has very limited storage.
Yeah, you remember you tagged me in a post of Atal Tunnel and I just shared it on my social media and somebody said, "Bhai, zindagi to tu hi ji raha hai, bhai." I'm Delhi mein hu. That was 1 month old. So it's easier for people to just compare their lives with other people's, but they don't really understand the timeline behind those posts and everything. Yeah.
Actually, I did write like TB. Like TB is throwback. Know what I mean? But if somebody doesn't really pay too much attention on what you're writing, people don't really read that much, do they?
Bro, I had no idea what FOMO means for like entire year. I kept writing FOMO. I said there's something related to somebody abusing in a different way. Then I realized it's fear of missing out.
Yeah, FOMO.
And all those conversations came back.
FOMO is actually such a good thing to talk about because FOMO is such a huge concept, especially today in terms of social media. You think I'm not a very social media savvy person at all. I've never really been active. Neither do I click a lot of pictures.
I'll tell you something better than FOMO.
I want that to be part of the conversation.
No, even like
why
since childhood, right? Like,
why is
I was never too active on Facebook.
Why was
I never uploaded any pictures, for example. Like I think hardly in my life I've ever uploaded pictures.
But why?
Are you on Instagram?
No, I'm not.
You're not on Instagram.
But I was.
Okay.
I used to be.
I'm not judging you for it. It's great that you're not on Instagram and you're not missing out on anything, trust me.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's just a fact.
That's disputable.
It's just a fact.
You're missing out on some good stuff.
What?
There's always some good stuff.
Yeah, the way you said it.
Okay.
You're getting some booty pictures, bro.
Maybe. I don't want to address the elephant in the room, but also I get a lot of motivation from people who are doing really well and doing the initiatives that I wanted to be part of. Like, if somebody I've known all my life, like, somebody in my neighborhood is starting a podcast and I'd be like, okay, that guy started what I was planning for so long, and that guy's executed that shit, you know.
Yeah.
And if I see you working out, I feel like, okay, I'm gonna go for a run too.
Yeah.
So it's all about how you use social media, but I was using in a more toxic way sometimes and in a more positive way sometimes. So it's all about your mindset.
Right.
But it depends, man.
But speaking of FOMO, I want to expose you to something really cool, Aniket. You know what is fucking JOMO?
JOMO.
FOMO is fear of missing out.
Joy of missing out.
Joy of missing out, brother. Maybe you're feeling the JOMO of not being on Instagram.
Yeah.
Bro, I think, yeah, I mean, it sounds very, very relatable, JOMO to me.
Yeah.
But it also concerns me a bit, honestly, because I think there's a lot of areas in life where I'm just like JOMO.
JOMO, bro. Don't tell me about
JOMO,
it.
man.
Don't share your run stats with me. Don't share your travel pictures with me. I'm okay watching Netflix in my house and chilling all by myself.
Yeah, because I never did. Like, as you know, I never put anything up. Like,
yeah.
It's a really bad thing, honestly. Like a lot of friends tell me. I think, like, in fact, I met one of our friends a couple of days ago, and he was saying to me कि भाई तू तेरा दिमाग खराब है, तू करता तू upload क्यों नहीं करता है? I don't know why, man. It doesn't come.
And you went on a week-long trip. How many pictures did you click?
I just showed you, right? I clicked 14 pictures.
14 pictures.
And honestly, 8 of them
That's like
one
that's like
place.
5 minutes of a like. I don't even want to stereotype on the chicks, but like there are people out there who travel just clicking pictures all the time.
Yeah, that's like
all the time.
Exiting Delhi bypass, 50 pictures.
I only click pictures of places that I thought I really did not want to miss.
Right.
Like, you know,
Yeah.
and it wasn't something about how beautiful it was. It could be as simple as me on a very, very common bridge. You know, you have those small bridges, right?
Yeah.
But suddenly in the middle of the bridge, this bridge is different because I feel different. And then
Do you like intentionally tell yourself that you want to be in the moment? Or is it something that doesn't come very naturally to you to just click pictures of things that you're doing? Or
it doesn't come
being
naturally
around?
to me, man. And I get bored, maybe that's why.
Ah.
Like, you know, I get bored clicking pictures.
So there's no ideology behind it that you don't
No,
want to be in
no.
technology,
I
you
don't
want to be
think so.
more in the present.
And I think also, dude, everybody's clicking pictures. Like during this trip itself, I went with 3 other people, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, do I need to? Like the primary question, right? Because
Yeah.
I see, as I said, right? I click pictures when I see something really pretty and I want to click it, right? So then I take a picture and then I keep my iPhone in my pocket, like one of those 14 pictures.
Right.
But otherwise, other than that, everything has been clicked. Every angle.
That's
Because
so
there's-
true, man. That's so true.
Yeah,
So true. But that's almost like saying if I go to Eiffel Tower, I'm not gonna click a picture because there's so many Eiffel Tower pictures. But it's about Aniket's
That's
feeling
true.
with an Eiffel Tower.
That's why I say that it's not a
It's
good thing or a bad thing. It's just a
Yeah.
fact. Like, you know, that I don't like clicking pictures.
Yeah.
Dude, me personally, I like clicking pictures. If I go outside, I'll take a picture. I'll take a picture of myself. I'll take a picture of the things I'm seeing. But I fear not being immersed in reality when I have my camera on. Because I feel like I have to capture the moment. And that moment is never captured perfectly. Like your eyes have some crazy amounts of megapixels, man.
Yeah.
Our eyes are the best cameras ever. And can we click pictures from our heads? I think we can.
Yeah. For that, we'll have to not click pictures with our phone.
Really?
Yeah, you have to be really.
See, that's not true. Maybe you spend so much time trying to get a good picture that you actually clicked a picture in your head as well of you trying to click a picture of that mountain.
That's almost like you clicking a picture of your phone with a GoPro.
So I think it all comes down to nothing is good. Like in this particular conversation, it's cool. If somebody likes taking a lot of pictures, good for you. If somebody doesn't,
yeah, I don't want to be the guy who judges people for clicking pictures on a vacation, man.
Yeah, it's not
Probably
bad.
they were looking forward to this vacation for the longest time.
Yeah.
They wanted to go take some
Yeah.
pictures. They've been seeing their friends posting pictures on Instagram for the longest time. Is like, finally, I've saved enough money to go and do something.
Yeah.
Click some pictures, show my friends that I can travel.
Yeah.
But this is so sad, right? Because why do people travel? Why does one even travel? You travel to experience new things, meet new people, eat different kinds of foods.
Yeah.
In fact, even food, like when you do travel, do you try foods of that particular place? Or is it something that you avoid? Like, if somebody travels to, say, Japan, do you go to an Indian restaurant or do you try sushi? But you've already exposed yourself to a different country.
Yeah.
Some people judge people for not trying the local cuisine of the place they go to. But why should you judge someone for that? Maybe it's such a big... Just the fact that they have traveled to a new place is like huge enough for them, you know.
That's true. Like me and seafood. I don't like seafood.
Okay.
I'm Bengali, dude. I don't know how many times.
You're Bengali and you don't like seafood? We found the one, brother.
He's breaking all the stereotypes, bro.
I really don't like seafood. Man.
You're living in 2020, you're not on Instagram, you're Bengali and you don't like seafood.
Okay, but before I take credit for not being on Instagram, the reasons are absolutely different. I think I told Anshul, so that's like, that's not. That's
Is it something
actually,
personal?
Yeah, it's something personal. It's not.
Is it a
because
chick?
Yes.
Ah,
So it's not got to do with
Ladki ka mamla hai.
trying to stay away from social media and trying to like.
Right, were you like busy stalking this
But
one chick
anyway,
or
I
some
think
chick
that's
was
an-
stalking you
that's-
and you didn't want her to?
No, it's nothing like that.
I think that's an
just
excuse of Aniket for already pre-existing condition of his, bro. He never liked social media. He
Yeah.
just put it on his girlfriend, you know.
Okay, actually, yeah, that's why.
Prove
Even
it to
before, see, that's why it was easy for me because I never used it anyway. On my Instagram wall, grid, whatever it is, right?
Right.
I think I've been on Instagram for 2 years. I only had one post,
Yeah.
which is our 10 Tunda
But I
post.
remember you scrolling through Instagram and consuming content, though, for sure.
Bro, I mean, I must have, but I really did very less.
Yeah.
Right, makes
It's
sense.
good for your mind, though, I'm sure, bro.
But because my poison is different. My poison is YouTube, bro. It's so embarrassing. I'm like an uncle, dude. Because I dig YouTube. So like all of the people I see everybody go on Instagram. For me, it's YouTube.
Damn, YouTube's your black hole.
Good thing
It
we're on
is,
YouTube.
bro, and I think YouTube is a little lamer because you get all kinds of content. So I mean generally I'd be quite embarrassed to say every video I saw during the day.
Right.
Because some of them is just crap, man.
For sure, yeah. YouTube has some amazing content and it has some really weird content and it has everything in the middle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like those reaction videos we were talking about.
Oh,
man.
that's
shit.
I don't understand.
I did not know about this concept, reaction videos, but like in my head this makes so much sense because if you're a dead person, you won't react to videos.
But
That's the only way you don't react to
but-
videos, right? If somebody shows you a video, you're like, oh, that's a video.
But remember we were having this conversation about consistently putting content out there, even
Right.
if it's not quality, we're not able to get like great amount of celebrity guests. It's
Sure.
okay, let's just put content out there. I think
For me,
reaction
he's a
video-
celebrity, bro.
I
He's my
think-
fucking friend.
Yeah, but the point
Well,
I'm
I'm
trying to
not.
make is
Yeah, that's all right.
But I know what you mean.
But with reaction videos, you can react to almost anything. There's so many videos. Just start reacting to any of the videos. You'll put content out there. Consistency is always checked. You know?
Isn't porn a sort of reaction video?
Porn.
Like people watch porn and then
What
they
sense?
like kind of do things to themselves. Isn't that a reaction to a video? Isn't like cat
Unless
video?
I would
aren't-
record
okay,
myself, which
okay,
is-
let's not talk about maybe say cat videos. Aren't cat videos?
That'd be the worst kind of porn of actually self-stimulating, watching a screen. So there's a screen, there's you. Weird kind.
Imagine you're watching porn and you don't do anything. You just like sit in Vajrasana and look at porn. No reaction.
And you're actually strengthening your willpower. What kind
Hey.
of psychopathic motherfucker would jump in?
I think I've heard of stuff like this.
Just breathing heavy and just controlling. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. You see like some crazy shit happening right there. You're like, Om. Sorry to all the brahmacharis out there. I'm not using Om in vain, but okay.
It's like the Pope liking that picture.
Porn
man.
doesn't belong to anybody.
It's like the Pope liking that picture. It's that same thing, right? It's
dude.
when you see that. If the
I saw
Pope,
that.
yes, that's a very interesting conversation, right? Which me and Anshul were having. That if the Pope if the Pope was looking at a picture, right, on Instagram of a bikini-clad girl, right?
Right.
He's not breaking any rules, is he? I mean,
Maybe like aren't they supposed to be celibate?
They are
Aren't they
celibate.
supposed to
but
not
this
touch
is not a
themselves?
picture. Celibacy is
that doesn't mean he jerked off. Neither
Yeah,
does it mean
like
he
the
fucked
picture.
someone, right? He just liked the picture. He's surfing Instagram.
But you know what are the chances that he did jerk off to that picture? I think they're very high.
quite a few. Might be
Quite a
less,
few.
Yeah.
Come on, it's just a bikini.
It's
clad
like
girl.
has
I mean,
reached-
I think if he reaches that level, he can access porn. I mean, who in 2020?
Do you think the Pope watches porn? Honestly, what do you think?
After that, what he did? I think he's into some crazy shit, dude.
Dude,
Some
he must be watching some kinky ass porn.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he could be, man. I don't really know.
What are they making porn in the Vatican?
Oh, bro, I think like
One thing, I swear to God, the Christian missionary guys.
Oh man.
Namaste.
I think maybe they would, but like because I don't know why do they call it missionary. Christian missionaries.
YMCA. YMCA. Yeah.
Missionary. Oh, dude. I've never thought about that, man.
I think, maybe it could be because, they send all these missionaries to Asia and Europe. They were like, let's send these missionaries to fuck these countries up. That would be it.
Yeah.
Dude, isn't that what Mother Teresa was? She came to India to spread Christianity.
Yeah. All of
I
them.
mean, am I wrong when I say that?
No, you're absolutely correct.
Right? That's what she came here for, right? Then she
Yeah.
started feeding poor people.
Yeah,
No,
so she
actually,
came with
until
good
the end of
intentions.
it. Until the end.
Mhm.
Like, see, while not discrediting her with all the good work she might have done,
Yeah.
until the end, she used to baptize people. And she still.
Yeah.
Mm.
Because I don't know, there's disputed fact, but she really believed in the religion and the value it puts forward, and I don't mind. That's what brahmacharis did, and that's in a way Swami Vivekananda also said. He was open to people following different religions, but he would always propagate his own. That's what he did when he went to Boston in the Parliament of
I don't
Religions.
think that's
And he
completely
talked about
उसने
Hindus.
घर वापसी करी
The
Boston
reason
में
why
लोगों
is
ने.
because he believed that his religion, his culture, was the universal culture.
Yeah.
And that makes a difference because
Yeah.
he's not saying that I am propagating my culture, which is Hinduism. He's saying that no, Hinduism is a global culture. It's not a
Yeah.
religion. It's a culture,
Yeah.
and it's a way of life.
Yeah.
And I like anybody to join me in that way of life.
Yeah.
And not like pray to a god. There was no
Yeah.
praying involved. There was no
Nothing.
like
Spiritual-
God
more
worship
spiritual form
involved.
of
Yeah, it was
Hinduism.
about health. It was about
Yeah.
staying fresh
Yeah.
and keeping your mind sharp. And stuff like that.
Yeah. But he would always have like things that would propagate, like wearing the same kind of sage kind of clothes,
Yeah.
doing like ritual brahmachari vow, which stemmed from the Vedic era.
Yeah.
Yeah, so entire aura around Vivekananda was okay. I'm a Hindu spiritual leader, and this is what I propagate. This is what I do on a daily basis, and which led me to this amazing sense of existence. And if you do this too, that'll be great for you. And that's my lesson to everyone. That's how Gautham Siddhartha did. He didn't particularly ask people to join Buddhism, but he said, if you want to reach moksha, I've found a way. And this is what I do.
I don't
That's
know if
good.
that is completely right, man, because I do think that even Buddha, right? Like there were constant, active, organized methods of propagating Buddhism, like of having systems and institutions in place where one would go to this particular country.
Would you say Buddha did that, or would you say his people or disciples did that the same way Sheila did it for Osho?
I think Buddha did it for sure because even his sons and all were included. If I'm not wrong, I could be totally
So
wrong.
I don't know
had
much about
sons?
Socialist.
Siddhartha had sons?
Yeah, of course. He
I
has
have no
sons.
idea about
He fucked, bro.
Rahul,
He let the cum out.
That's good. That's a good.
If I'm not wrong, maybe it was
Why
Rahul.
not?
And if this is wrong, please edit this, bro.
No, it's okay.
There's no editing, man. You know, that's the thing
Could be
about
wrong.
It could be
something
Rahul.
about
Could be wrong.
podcasting is the fact, like about this podcast, what
Yeah.
we're doing. We don't give a fuck about if we're wrong, man.
Yeah.
You know, if you're wrong, say. You know, I was actually gonna say that I'm not gonna use the word fuck, but I already did it thrice.
Yeah, it's okay, no problem.
Yeah, but that's the thing, man. It has to be unfiltered. Anybody who's listening to us, we're all imperfect, man. We don't have complete knowledge, but we're three buddies having a conversation.
And it'll be amazing if you can
And-
correct us for any fact in the comments below.
100%.
And
If you're a Buddhist and you're
let's have a
annoyed by the
conversation in the thread.
And also about fuck, bro. I mean, like, really, right after we spoke about Pope liking pictures, bikini missionaries, everything fuck is really bad.
That's just fornication under the
Yeah.
consent of king. Okay, you're just saying permission from the French king. If you can just have fun, just let him know about it. Did you know where the word fuck came up? I think a lot of people don't know.
No, I have no idea.
So the full form was fuck. It's fornication under the consent of king. So there was a decree released by the king in France who said, if you want to have babies and if you want to just procreate or just want to make love, you let the king know. So it's fornication under the consent of the current king. And you just let the king know and do it, no problem.
The
But if you
French
don't let
are
the
so
king know-
weird, dude.
Yeah, man, it's the land of love and romance. And they wanted people to take
But then
permission.
my question is, if it was France, how come the word was in English?
That's a good point.
Because it must have been fornicuta.
Guys, again, could be wrong, disputed fact.
Je m'appelle.
Could be wrong. I could be wrong. I was just saying. He's just saying like
Did you just make this shit up?
no, that's true. But
Someone else
no,
might have.
He read a meme, bro.
I mean, we need a Jamie, man. We need a
Yeah.
fact checker
Yeah,
with us
you're
right
right,
now.
bro. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody to check it, bro. Shabby. Check that shit for me.
But if somebody fact checked you on this, then how do we spread this wrong information? We have to spread this wrong information because it's awesome.
Yeah.
Fornication under the consent of the king. I am the king.
Ask
me before you have kids, dude.
Yeah.
Call Naman.
I am pretty sure it was his name. I'm pretty sure. I'm not spreading conspiracies here, and I'm not a graduate of WhatsApp University, guys. Okay. I do think.
Dude, Aniket, you were asking us what are we going to talk about? Is there going to be a structure?
Yeah.
Have we even touched any of the topics that we thought we'll touch?
We did talk about Vatican City, though.
Yeah.
Dude, imagine if they... Okay, just coming back to my old point. Imagine if they are actually making porn inside Vatican. That would be so weird, right? Like, these motherfuckers are making porn inside a holy city.
That would explain the diplomatic alliances, dude. Like, everybody
With
loves the
especially
Vatican
America.
City because when you go there,
It's
all the presidents have orgies with their wives.
Man, isn't that what Jeffrey Epstein shit was? That they took all the elites and took them to an island to
for
fuck
sure.
underage women?
Bro, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. There are flight tickets of Bill Clinton when he was the president, and Jeffrey Epstein was on his private jet, and they went to an island, undisclosed location, with CIA having entire knowledge of it, and it's out there. Where did they go?
Right.
Maybe they were gay. And they were just doing everything.
No, Monica.
You see, like, he's a president, so you can't tell the people that he's homo, especially in 2000, right?
What was the name of the intern when Bill Clinton died?
I don't remember, but yeah, I know.
Monica
Monica
Lewinsky?
Bellucci. Oh.
Lewinsky is an actress.
Lewinsky.
Lewinsky, Monica Lewinsky.
So
Maybe.
what about
It's a Monica for sure, yeah.
Yeah, so the Monica was an intern in the White House, and they did things, and you know how they found out?
to suck his dick?
Something like that, and there was just his DNA on her coat. And when I say DNA, you know what I mean, right?
Dude, DNA can
White
spread
juice.
from your touch as well, right?
No,
if I
brother,
touch you.
the kind of DNA that procreates baby.
So. I think that just is
It's his semen was on Monica's coat.
So say semen, bro.
Yeah.
Don't say DNA.
For sure, man.
DNA can come from saliva as well. If I'm speaking to you and my saliva comes on to you,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean I've kissed you or not that you've sucked my dick.
Yeah.
It probably means
Yeah.
that like we're in
I
close
think-
proximity.
Yeah, I just wanted to be a little more
Maybe he
politically
should have
correct.
said, bro, I was just jerking off and then I touched her with the same hand and that's how my DNA got to her coat.
And she was just an intern for a really short amount of time.
Dude, forget Bill Clinton. Don't you think like Jawaharlal Nehru was a baller? He looked like a really, really serious. You guys can't do man.
Yeah, no problem. There's so many ballers, man, back in the day, right? Jawaharlal Nehru for sure turns to be the one. You know, they talk about love triangle with Mountbatten and his wife. Yeah, that was a pretty famous thing, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and how did Jawaharlal Nehru die though? He died with a sexually transmitted disease.
Syphilis.
Yeah.
He had a syphilis.
God damn.
But I always think that I'm always on the side of not concentrating too much upon
The
these
lives of
couple
political
facts.
leaders.
I mean, because in the
Every
end,
time!
It's nice.
Yeah, it's
thing. Yeah.
We were at home, so we were quarantining.
Yeah.
Dude, that's the thing, right? Every time you do something really important, or if you have friends over, your family has to check on you.
Yeah.
It just has not that they're curious about what you're doing or something. Maybe they are curious about what you're doing. Not that they want to be part of it, but they're just like, oh, these guys are having fun.
क्या YouTube shooting
Imagine-
कर रहे हो तुम?
Dude,
Imagine, let me just have a whiff of the air inside.
Dude, imagine
Hi
being
everybody.
imagine being plus 60
Yeah.
and not having like a social life anymore, dude. You know, when you see young people living, their friends are coming over, they're having conversations, but at the same time, you're super old and you're probably gonna die really soon, dude. I mean, I'm not talking about my family, I'm talking about old people in general, man. You know, old people, it's such a weird thing, right? Like, but we can die at the same time. We can die right now. How much have we lived? How many moments have we actually felt like we're living, you know? Instead of just having a long life, we should probably be thinking of having a life where we're stimulated, where we're sharing time with our friends, where we're like creating, where we're able to like keep ourselves, you know, we have to challenge ourselves and like you know what I really want sometimes, bro? I want to go on my bed and die. When I sleep, when I sleep, I don't want to put an effort into sleeping. I just want to lay down and die, bro. I just want to want to go off. And if
But
I
you know,
wake up,
that
I wake
part-
up.
the
If I
sad-
don't wake up, I don't give a shit.
The sad part would be then like if you do die, like once you sleep, you never find out like in the next morning. So like
Yeah, that's
all of that
awesome.
joy is gone.
Right.
Like, oh shit, I didn't get to feel that. I died.
Was that my last wish?
Yeah.
I should have done something. Maybe should have jerked off, man. One last jerk off. Sasha Grey.
Dude, but imagine like you jerk off and then you die. That would be a good death. Would that be?
Maybe
Is
not.
orgasms all there is to life?
Okay, if you had to die and if you knew you're dying tomorrow, what's that one thing you'd want to do?
That's a good question.
Just one thing. What is the one thing on top of your head that comes to your mind?
I'd probably want to jerk off, man.
I would probably want to be in Peru, Machu Picchu, with the ancient city with someone I know that I really want to take. Yeah.
Machu
Yeah.
Picchu के पीछे.
Machu Picchu के पीछे छुपू मैं धप्पा मैं डन दूंगा यहाँ पे ये मेरी डन है. So what about you guys? What would you like to do? One thing, top of your head. You'll die.
I'd like to rent a helicopter and just go around the world.
Beautiful.
Because I've been thinking about it a lot.
You don't have too much time, man. You're dying tomorrow.
Yeah.
No,
But still,
renting
one is
it.
a lot. One is a lot. Yeah. I mean, like to go about Asia, for example, right?
Yeah. I think you could do that in 24 hours for sure.
I want to have biscuit pudding, bro. Yeah, man. I want a plate of biscuit pudding.
that's
And I just want to eat that shit. And like maybe smoke a joint. And just have a nice beer or something. And just die. That's it. Life's over.
I'll be honest, I want to change what I want to do. I want to do DMT before I die with the shamans, man. And show me afterlife before I die.
But you could smoke DMT and your ego is dead anyway. So probably you're dead.
Yeah.
Why don't you
You're a
come to
living
a
dead guy.
helicopter and then do some DMT? Wouldn't that be great?
And have biscuit pudding? Holy shit, that'd be crazy.
Have you guys had biscuit pudding?
I've had it. My mother
Dude, that's
I mean,
good
it sounds
stuff.
like I must have had it some other time, but
It's like you Mari biscuits, right? Take Mari biscuits, dip them in a coffee dip, and then you have like this cream layering that you can like layer 5 or 6 biscuits on
becomes like a
top.
souffle or something.
Sort of, yeah. It becomes really soft and like it's like, and then you put it in a freezer or a fridge, so it becomes cold, and then you cut it. Bro, it's like the most delicious pudding that's out there, man.
That's pretty awesome.
I mean, there are a lot of other. It's a very simple dish. It's not like a meringue pie or something like a cheesecake or like an opium cake, which is more complex. But this is more like a grandmother's kind of shit, you know, like something that your family
What's an
people.
opium cake?
Dude, I had it yesterday actually.
Britishers would love it.
I have no idea what's an
Opium cake,
We
bro.
would invade China for that kind of
And
cake.
is it just called opium cake or
It's
is
called opium cake. The original opium cake did have opium in it, but nowadays they have like those opium poppy seeds on it. But it's freaking delicious, man.
Poppy.
And it's like super creamy, and it's got a few layers of cake, and it's delicious, bro. Really good.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah. What were you guys talking about when I went outside?
We were talking about the way Jawaharlal Nehru died. He died of syphilis.
Really?
Yeah.
Isn't syphilis a STI?
Yeah, it is.
That guy must be fucking left, right, and center. bro.
Yeah.
because
Must be getting a lot of
He
pussy.
was having an affair with Lord Mountbatten's wife.
Really?
Yeah, the love triangle.
man!
The love Viceroy's wife.
I think instead of us Indians looking down upon it, we should be fucking proud. Dude.
Yeah, man.
God
That's what I
damn,
said,
bro.
my
The
man.
leader of our country is doing good shiz, bro.
Parliament.
In front of Britain and fucking
Yeah.
Martin Mountbatten's wife.
Yeah, last Viceroy, huh?
He got something back, dude. He got some redemption.
Something back, yeah.
Yeah, we
It
shouldn't
wasn't-
ask for reparations anymore, Shashi Tharoor. We got it already. We got our $1. We got that shit.
Dude, when Shashi Tharoor was on his tour of his book where he was talking about repatriation,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he was fucking left, right, and center as well in Britain, man. Like all these kids who have never heard about how they tortured Indians during the independence struggle, and all the young woke kids would have been like, "Oh, look at this handsome fucking politician."
Yeah.
I don't know if Shashi Tharoor is handsome though. Is he? I mean,
I
when you
think-
look at him through the camera, he looks like a really like.
Yeah, no,
He looks
I
like a
think he
fucking
was
gentle
handsome.
guy, man. It looks-
I think he's pretty handsome. Yeah, he's got sharp features. That's
He's got nice.
He's got sharp features.
I wouldn't want to just dwell on his features. But I'd say
No
like,
homo,
on-
brother.
yeah, on a spectrum of charisma or aesthetic features, he's got crazy amount of charisma, dude. So like, fuck being me, Manson, dude. He's a really smart dude. He's well read and he's got like really stimulated thoughts, man.
Right.
And he can shut any journalist up with such a charm that it's a treat to watch him.
Right.
Shashi Tharoor, dude, you know.
He's really quite like cerebral, you know.
Very much.
Yeah,
man.
even
Very
in
smart
fact,
guy.
the most recent news I read about Shashi Tharoor was also nice. I always like whatever he does because it's never irrational. Like maybe he's mama on issues, but when he does speak up, it really resonates with what I believe as well. For example, he spoke up for the Kunal Kamra issue, and the Supreme Court's trying to get him framed, right, for saying
Contempt of court.
For literally saying I'm trying to quote him as closely as possible, which is Supreme Court is hypocritical, and for stuff like that, because that's not even bad things to say,
right?
It's just someone saying Supreme Court is hypocritical. What hypocrisy and stuff.
What is freedom of speech otherwise? I mean, that's what I don't like about this country. So first you say there's freedom of speech, and then you make a law saying hate speech.
So what
you've
these
got
guys
the freedom
did
of speech with hate speech.
So the parliament and the parliament, they made a little organization or a committee of sorts, which then brought this to the notice of Twitter and asked Twitter, why did you not take Kunal Kamra's comments down? Because he questioned the Supreme Court. And then
Our politicians have nothing better to do, bro.
That reminds me, what do you think about, so I don't know if you guys are aware, but in Madhya Pradesh MP, recently there's a Gau committee that's been brought about, which is legit a part of the government. It's a ministry for the protection of cows. And I think once again, as we Indians have done again and again and again through our centuries, somehow we reach somewhere and then we completely lose the plot. Why couldn't it have been welfare of animals as a whole? Why do we have further
just to play devil's advocate in your opinion, it could be because of the fact that cows are a draught animal and cows are very important for our society in terms of its nourishment that it brings.
They were.
They still are. Like, I mean, cows are super important for nourishment.
I think that's changing very, very quickly. I mean, there was a time when 100%, 90% of our population was dependent on having a cow at home, which completely explains why cow is such a sacred animal, because once you get a cow, you have sustenance, you have milk, you can sell ghas chadao. It also helps with the ghas chadao stuff.
You can use it as gas
and gas to light stuff. So I can totally understand why it's looked at as something that is very sacred,
right,
which needs to be protected, right? But
yeah,
I think we need, as the reason I said again and again we reach the same point is because we reach a good point. Okay, we should appreciate things that give us a lot of resources, right? For example, cows and all. But at the same time, culture needs to grow. It needs to keep evolving. If we were going towards creating ministries for cows, we're so stupid. We should have just done for the welfare of animals.
Right.
That makes so much more sense. The moment you say it's only for cows, I am only going to protect cows.
Right.
There is something totally wrong with you. There's something missing in your entire argument, because shouldn't that argument go out for all animals and generally towards nature?
I think we're way too far with the current government right now, because they've been all out there with everything.
I mean, I would be for cow I would be for cow protection if it were to be expanded to animal protection, animal welfare. Like, do what you can. India,
there are cows outside my house.
Yeah, they're a menace. More than a blessing right now.
We're living in 2020 India. Cows are everywhere, man. Cows are like super protected. I don't think we need to protect them as much as we do already. And there are cow vigilantes out there killing people. Cow vigilantes taking care of cows. No, sorry, I want to correct myself. People are not taking care of cows, bro. These cows are eating plastic. These cows are roaming the streets. They're roaming our parks. They're shitting on our roads, making them dirty. The amount of methane that they produce is insane. And these cows are not being taken care of. They're 100%. Just being used as a political tool and a sentiment arousal for people, because we have a lot of sentiments attached with the cow. That's why the MP government must have done something like this, because they want to show that they care for the cow. But in the reality, it's just a game, man.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. And think about it, man. With the farmers in Himachal Pradesh, they're not being able to kill the cows, which are not able to produce milk. So the cost of just rearing them and taking care of them increases and puts a burden on the farmer. Because usually what farmers do is, after a point when they stop giving milk, they butcher them and sell the meat. But now they can't do that, and they have to take care of the cow. So since they're not able to take care, they just leave the cows to graze.
But isn't it so sad? Like, like this entire thing. And imagine we've come to a place where we're actually thinking of not being able to sell the meat of an animal who's given you milk all throughout her life. At the end of it, and we're considering it a bad thing. That's not right for sure. That's
Have
why
you ever eaten a steak?
Yeah, for sure.
I didn't get the
But
point
I
of-
turned vegetarian.
You're a vegetarian?
I turned vegetarian last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, how's that turning out for you, man? Do you eat eggs?
No, I feel so guilty because the thing is,
You're a vegetarian. Sorry, I would ask you if you eat eggs. That's so weird.
Eggs.
Yeah, eggs.
Eggs I ate. Eggs I
you
never
eat?
quit. Eggs I never quit.
That's
Eggs I
good, that's
always
smart.
ate. Eggs I always ate for some reason because I never got enough proof to know if eating eggs is bad or right, and plus I like eating eggs.
Yeah, because vegetarians
chicken
drink
and fish
milk.
and all I left.
Vegetarians drink milk all the time. It's also coming out of animal's
Absolutely.
body. Right?
Oh, Anshika is vegan. My girlfriend, she's vegan.
Okay.
So
She
she
doesn't
does
have
not
dairy
have
as well?
dairy. No dairy since a year and a half now.
Yeah.
Does she have low energy all the time?
Yes, for sure. Actually, she did complain about it. Yes, and once she saw a doctor,
I'm
even
not
the doctor
surprised.
said that the change of diet will cause problems in the beginning
But you
because your
adapt to
body
it.
is used to it
Yeah.
throughout. But there are always substitutes. They're not as tasty. Like they're not as
Dude,
good.
absolutely. There's a lot of money when you turn vegan. There's a lot of money. You
Lot
have to
of
put
money.
in supplements and
A
everything.
lot of money. Everything is
Okay,
expensive. For
okay.
example, like
Yeah.
like dry fruit, milk, and all that. That shit's expensive. That's
Right.
not from an animal,
For
right? It's
sure.
from dry fruits.
And I think
Right.
there are a lot
That
of
shit's
problems
expensive,
attached to it as well because there's a lot of calcium that comes
Yeah.
in dairy products.
That's not true
And
though. I think
yeah,
it's been
it is.
proven. I think because my girlfriend has shown me a lot of times that it's been proven that
Of
a
course
vegan
they'll
diet
prove it,
is
of
better
course
for the
they-
body.
It is. It
It
is.
is.
There
As
is a,
long
there
as
is
you
a, there is a
Follow the diet.
There is an
That's
entire
what it
series
is.
on Netflix called Game Changers. But I'm
Yeah.
telling you, in India, with the vegan culture coming in, like we're adapting to it the way West has, but we don't have the similar products to cater for it in India at the moment because they're super expensive.
You're absolutely
They're
correct.
super
You're
expensive.
absolutely
And
correct.
somebody who's not earning money that much and pivoting to a diet which is
Yeah,
completely
absolutely.
vegan can
That's
be
true.
really heavy on the pocket.
It's actually not that complicated.
It is
but,
expensive.
But absolutely, like you'd have very limited choices.
Yeah.
Like, your life would be quite difficult.
Because the
The-
concept of veganism is not just about not consuming animal product, it's also about protecting animals' welfare as well.
Everything.
Everything,
Nothing
so-
should come from an
Exactly,
animal.
yeah.
Like nothing you do should be at the expense.
Not even
of
leather
any
shoes,
other
leather
thing.
belts,
My
leather bags.
mind
Yeah,
completely
nothing.
blows away when vegans try and tell me that humans have never had animal products.
Yeah.
Since
No, that's
the
not true.
beginning
That's
of
not true.
civilization.
Yeah.
That's complete
Yeah.
bullshit.
It's
We've
just
been
like-
killing animals, eating animals.
we've
It's
always-
a proof we have canines, man. If we have
No, I mean, like,
scissors,
but
that
we're
proves that
omnivores.
omnivores.
Okay,
are
all right.
omnivores.
Then
We
I'll have
eat
another
animals.
counter argument, right?
Yeah.
Most societies, not all, but most, and especially in our country, are
Yeah.
patriarchy in nature. But by default, by belief, they believe that man has certain roles and women have certain roles to play.
Yeah.
And in a lot of those societies, as they progress, they got to a point where they said, no, women can't do this now. Like their role is set and they have to sit at home. Like a lot of Islamic countries, right, where women can't do things. Like
They cannot
for
drive
example.
cars.
Right?
It's
Yeah.
very, very
Highly
recently that they got
misogynistic.
the
Highly misogynistic.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
but
Relatively.
humanity, as I said about culture before too, we have to realize the importance of evolving and constantly growing. We had canines, but now you have brains. Now you can survive.
But
Aniket,
I'll tell you a counter
because-
argument for that. If you don't have cows, if you don't have these animals which graze the land, you're increasing their population to a point that your vegetation decreases to a point that there's no oxygen content near you. They'll
I
take
don't think
away-
that's entirely true, man.
Yeah, if you
I mean, because in
if
the end, when
entire-
they're shitting, they're
just think
again
about
making it fertile.
No, it's not. It's a lot of methane when the cow shits. It's adding to global warming directly. If the entire I'll tell you what.
Is it as bad as eating a cow and then farting it out?
No, I'll tell you there has to be a balance.
I mean, like
there has to be a balance.
because everything's farting, including you. Once you eat the meat, you're actually farting worse.
No, we don't chew like the cow. The cow makes cud in the way it
eating
farts.
meat, bro. Like in your when you fart,
Processing of
right?
meat.
Like you like when you eat meat, it results in worse gases.
See, one of the things that I try and avoid when it comes to my diet is I don't try and make it political. My diet is not political. If I want to have meat, I will eat it because I know meat has a lot of micronutrients that a lot of vegetarian options don't have, like vitamin B12. Like there are a few other things like they are not coming in my head. at this
Protein,
But I were to say
protein
that if we were to
content.
have,
Yeah.
but I do think that if we were to have an argument which was based completely on rationale and not ego, I think at the end of the argument we would always realize that the preservation of one's own being is the right of every living thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And to eat meat defies that. So it can't be right.
Why do you think so?
Why do you think so?
Because
It's
Don't you think if you eat
if
meat
have
and
a
you feel
choice-
more
if you
vital,
have a choice, the reason is because if you have a choice to. If you don't have a choice to, it's fine. For example, we didn't, right? That's the argument. For years and years, right, when we were growing, when there was no resources, we used to spend all our time hunting food. The women used to be getting the berries and the men used to be out hunting because that's what animals do. Still dogs, right? All day long, they look for food. But when you grow and you evolve and you realize there are alternatives, you have the choice. Let's just keep it at that. Let's not even go to right or wrong.
How about somebody?
I understand what you're saying.
If you quit meat today, you won't die for sure. What you will do is be able to say that because of me, just the truth, because of me, my immediate habits, no animals are dying. Which is great.
It's not. That's
I hear you.
I get your point and I completely agree from where you're coming. But I'm telling you, it's the same way. There's a conversation in Joe Rogan's podcast when they're talking about people hunt wolves, and there is, and you'd see from a periphery that hunting wolves. Are you mad? That's a bad thing to do. But they are a menace for an entire community of herders. And if an overpopulation... Let me complete. And if there's an entire population of wolves, if they overpopulate, they could be a menace for community. So nature has a check and balance. And the current capitalist system, the way they are making burgers and hamburgers and butchering cows is not the right way. But if there is a bow hunter out there who says, I'm going to hunt my own meat and I'm going to feed my family with that one bull an entire year, I don't think as a bad thing because that's animalistic and you're being part of the food chain and you're not breaking the circle and you're not actually over exploiting the species.
Bro,
and that could be a good thing.
When we're vegan, when we're plant-based, all of that grows on farms. Farms need a lot of land to grow stuff on, and there are insects that are there inside the soil, and when we harvest, everything indiscriminately gets killed. So many organisms get killed, and you know, it's not very economically and environmentally sustainable to have so many vegans on the planet.
It is not. We need to have a balance for it too, man. In Jainism, they'd say you're doing a wrong thing by killing those microorganisms too.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and to add to your point, bro, actually you reminded me. A big reason is that because of the capitalistic system of
fast food.
Let me change it. The systematic hunting, killing, and selling off of animal meat has become a business, and it's an evil business.
It's not even hunting, it's harvesting.
It's harvesting.
That is what is bad. It's actually really bad. Like in cages, born in a cage, lived out in a cage, dies in a cage.
But what do you think
of broilers? That's the kind of meat I would want to avoid.
But tell me one thing. I really want to ask
I completely agree with that.
Yeah, I really want to ask you a question about the same. If there is a way to artificially make this kind of meat, which does not probably have consciousness, you make it in a lab. It's not the way God invented it. You're not overpopulating them with a natural way. You're taking some part of their DNA and broiler chicken. It is a proven fact that they don't have the same level of consciousness and the physical and emotional ability as a normal chicken. They're only bred as meat.
Why not just fucking stop the meat?
Because
thinking
it's good money.
Because
it's good money.
Yes.
Because you need
good
protein,
money.
brother.
It's
you
a
need
churning
It's
engine.
the money.
It's the churning engine of capitalism.
Proteins. We need nutrients.
You can't substitute meat protein. How are you going to do it?
You can
I'll tell you how you're going to do it.
It's one thing not being dead, and it's one thing being completely optimal.
Aniket, I'll tell you,
know
how
what I mean?
Aniket, I'll tell you how you're able to substitute.
You'll be like completely cornering him on being vegan. I have a feeling like I don't know if I'm
But
right
at
for
the
this.
cost of what?
But I do agree
You
with
are
the fact
optimally living at the cost of a death of another living creature
Only because
it does
those
not
kill
have the
that organism,
cognitive
still
ability.
killing.
And the only reason you can do it is because you have a greater cognitive ability.
That's what whites did to when they colonized. That's what they did to African nations.
And that's what I mean. Then you would agree with colonization because it's all the same principles.
Power.
It's the power. It's the powerful preying on the less powerful.
But that's part of the food chain. The powerful. Let me complete. That's part of the food chain. The powerful big fish eats the small fish, but there has to be a check and balance. Now we're not hunting all by ourselves. If we were hunting, it'll be a good thing. Because I'm hunting for my need, not for my greed. But because of capitalism, we are procuring for every fat fucker who does not want to run and hunt. And we are just saying, there's Swiggy and Zomato for you. We'll make it, preserve it in cold storage, and it'll always be available for you and your grandchildren, and nobody has to step out in the wild and kill anybody and be a part of the food chain. That's wrong. But I don't think turning vegan is the solution. I think People realizing that consuming meat for the purpose of enriching your body is good, but even an extreme phase of veganism I don't support. Because like you said, how are you going to substitute enough protein? You're going to rely on whey proteins, and that also comes from milk products, and then you're going to overexploit the cows that you're not killing.
To die.
You're going to consume the milk products from the cows that you're not killing.
Pull out that hemp protein powder. Just show it to the fucking people, man. Get some hemp,
I think
why do you want to have so much nutrition?
Get some hemp,
Guys, what do you think about veganism and having a carnivore diet and also maintaining a balance between the two? What do you think of that? Put down your views in the comment section below.
Right, this is a debate in itself, man.
Yeah, it's a never-ending debate. It's a
never-ending debate.
It's such polarized debate.
And I think it depends on a lot of opinion, because I think you guys put too much stress on fucking nutrition, which I get it, right? I mean, I get that you guys are really determined.
We have scissors and we have grinders. We have both of them. There has to be a balance.
Dude, honestly, Aniket,
it doesn't matter what your history is. You are what you are today.
Yeah.
Can you make a decision based on what we are today?
I'll tell you.
And not what our forefathers.
I'll tell you why.
Because our brains have developed. You deny it.
Let's not try and speak over each other. Let's just try and do that.
Okay.
Don't mind me.
I'll tell you why I believe we're not too different from our ancestors, because we still have the same 2 feet. Our biology is not that different. Maybe we are mentally evolved and we can take rational decisions.
The only difference.
No, but there is a need of the body to sleep 8 hours the way people did 2000 years ago. I think the nutritional needs are still the same. I think the physical needs are still the same.
Yeah.
But Jans have not had meat, onion, and thing for centuries.
And
do you know any Jain athlete? Is there an athlete out there who's super ripped and
the right way to look at it.
I mean, just think about it. I mean, it's a thought experiment.
Top of the graph Jain athletes do we know of anyway?
I thought you told me Virat Kohli is. Did you tell me?
I think he's vegan, but I think he can afford it. Yeah, Virat Kohli is vegan. But I'm definitely sure he can afford all the needed micronutrients that a body needs to supplement for the needs that one gets from meat, And he has the money.
I think yes. Then in the end, the question comes down to, is your high nutrition worth a chicken's life?
So, dude, like saying that you get all of your nutrition from a chicken is absolutely wrong as well. Like if you eat chicken, it's not that it's going to feed you and give you all the micronutrients and the nutrients you need.
Then,
But at the same time, there are a bunch of vegans. There's a difference between plant-based diet and veganism. Vegan is more political. It's more, not even political. It's more based on a cause. Right? That you don't want to cause harm to a life, you don't want to kill a cow or a chicken for that matter. But we forget that living organisms are of different sizes. A chicken can show its emotion, but a worm you can't see. A worm that's living on a farm that gets killed because of harvesting, we don't see that.
Yeah, I mean, okay. But then I would like to think of yesterday. In fact, I was thinking of this thing. Okay, so I was walking, and while I was walking, there was an ant which is going right in front of me, okay? And for fucking no apparent reason, I killed it. Alright? And when I figured out, and the moment I killed it, I mean, bro, I didn't even care. Honestly, I was just like mock playing football. You know how you play air football and try to kick something?
Right.
So the ant was my football at that particular point of time.
You just stomped it.
It was a matter of a microsecond, right?
Right.
Like, I thought, and I killed it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then the counter argument that came to my head was that when I walk, I kill so many ants without realizing.
Absolutely.
So this is nothing.
Right.
But then I realized the only difference is
consciousness.
It's consciousness.
Yeah.
When I kill something intentionally, without rhyme or reason, it's not right.
Yeah.
No matter what I think.
Yeah.
But if it happens inevitably, that I was walking across the ground and without me realizing I stepped over ants.
Okay, let me ask you a question. When you did kill the ant, what was your first thought? If you have to really think about it.
Was that necessary? No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you like kind
That
of
was
being
it,
critical of yourself, your action, what you just did?
I was trying to realize because I like to think nothing makes a difference and all of that, right? That in the larger scale, what difference does it make? And then the polar opposite, everything makes a difference.
If everybody starts being nihilist about it,
everything makes a difference.
Yeah.
In truth, and you should, and a part of me believes that I have for a long time been on that side. But I think nothing matters. Like in the rebellion, I think most of us during our teenage years when you are growing up, right, we're on that side where how does it matter? Like the world is big and we're small. And
there are no consequences to your actions.
Yes, and the more you start growing up, and I think it's a bad thing. I don't even mean it with happiness, but the more experience you get and the more you start growing up, for me, it's about realizing more and more how you should always be on the side of everything I do matters. Like even what you guys talk about nutrition and not eating outside, right? It's more towards that side of being whatever I do matters and not कुछ भी खा लूँगा तो सही हो जाएगा.
Yeah, because otherwise you're just trotting on the path of inconsequence.
Yeah,
Then
because
you
you guys learned the same thing. Like you probably learned the same 10 years ago. But now you are more choosy about what you eat.
Right.
Because you've learned.
Do you think that's part of growing up?
I totally think so. I think if it's not, then okay, then I can't judge, but that's surely a big part of the life experience. Like,
I think that's also
coexist.
That's also part of just having like consciousness and a heightened consciousness of everything that I do really matters.
Yes,
I'm going to choose my decision because I have the awareness that I can choose and determine my destiny.
Right.
Otherwise, you're just like, okay, it doesn't matter, life's going to go the way it is going to go,
Right.
You can't change a thing. And then I think you can go down the path of chaos. If you want to eliminate the path of chaos, you want to really feel like my life matters, and I'm going to choose truth, and I'm going to accept my reality and try to change it. Otherwise, you're just like, okay, I can't change anything. Give me anything.
One of the weirdest things I ever heard from somebody last year during my yoga course was that this chick told me that there are karma points. Like if you kill an insect, you get a +-1. If you kill a pig, it's -5. I feel it's complete bullshit. I have a feeling that life is life. Yeah. If you kill an insect, it's the same thing as killing a human.
Yeah.
I have a feeling.
Yeah.
Because it's about size, right? Because the ant is so small.
Right.
We're the size of the Himalaya for the ant.
Yeah.
But for the ant, there might be a small speck of soil which is as big as the human being.
Everything is social conditioning.
Right.
Yeah.
And when say a deer dies or a human dies, anything dies, microorganisms come and eat us.
Yeah.
Break us down into soil. We just completely by the same small thing that we can kill anytime we want.
Yeah, and society doesn't give value to probably a dog dying that much as compared to a human dying, is because we see the value a human can put in the world out there, and we just equated a human could have really changed the world. What can a dog do? And then what can an insect do? And then what can a So I think it's more about, more capitalist way of seeing of how much exploitation can be done from this being. And there could have been a lot of changes this one Elon Musk could have done. He could have been the next Gandhi. You kill it, but the dog can't be the next Gandhi. You know what I'm saying? He could be the Gandhi of the dogs. But what are dogs going to do?
Right. So
They
you're
would
saying
have to go.
humans have a little more value attached to them.
I think with humanism as a concept came of putting life to human, value to human life more. And that's a concept of the 19th century when they said every human life has value. And I think that's also a very flawed concept.
No, I don't think so, Anshul.
Yeah.
When I come to think about it, and even I think you were talking about the same thing, that human beings for the longest time were trying to just fend for themselves. They were trying to get food. Yeah. We were just trying to stay alive. But now we've come to a stage where food is not the most important aspect of our lives. We are creators, we are artists, we make things, we have conversations, we're able to create buildings, we're able to create lights, write books, create podcasts. We are artists and creators. And I have a feeling that we are way different from, say, a dolphin, even though it's a really intelligent creature. But it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
Humans are so different.
Yeah, because we have the power to create, and I think we've put more power to creation. And I think we've put more power to things that can help you create more, and that's a system we've put together where everybody is chasing this one thing, which is money. And then we have made money such a huge thing that everybody has to sacrifice 1/3 of their lives for it. And then you get this system to keep working on its own. It becomes an autonomous system all by itself. If you eliminate the need for money, nobody has the motivation to work for something. So I think if it was the initiative or the incentive for an individual to realize, I'm going to work for self-actualization, or Naman's going to work for artistic pleasure, or Aniket's going to work for love. Everybody's motivation is different. So we had to create a unity and a singularity for everybody to work, and then you can choose your passions but still take money out of it. You can still be an artist and take money. You can still be an advertising guy. I can be a businessman, but we're all chasing money because money is the medium to get the life you want as an artist, as a businessman. So I think we all came together and created a concept of fiat currency, which was backed by the central government, and that entire concept is a farce. And that is why I want to get to the point of capitalism versus communism. Because in capitalism there is always 3 modes of production: land, labor and capital, and there is limited land unlimited capital and exploitation of labor. But communism says the otherwise. It's not money we're chasing. We have power. So there's the question of power over money now.
Yeah.
So communism is more inclined towards power. Capitalism is more inclined towards money. And capitalism says, we'll give you independence as long as you can make money for the system and a little bit for yourself. And communism says, as long as you listen to us and keep us in power, we will help you. So you listen to the state and help us be in power. But as long as you start thinking for yourself and your greeds and money and become an independent away from the collective consciousness, we will penalize you. You be a farmer. You don't think of having your company and you don't think of changing the system. The system works itself. So I think there were two polarizing powers, and I think lately when I'm growing up, I don't want to say it, but I feel like the cause of communism is misunderstood and they've really twisted and turned it, and that's why China had to play a different game of being a little capitalistic communistic. Internally they function as a communistic nation, but for a global arena where they have to play, they are playing the money game and they're playing it right. Think about it. In 1989 China and India had the same GDP, but it's only in 30 years they've beaten the behemoth, which is America.
I honestly think about the thing, communism and capitalism, right? I think neither without the other is complete. For example, the US, right? The biggest capitalist force of today's day. They were a closed door country, a communistic country, as you might say, right? And then they moved towards more liberalization of their economy as they slowly opened up. China. They were communist completely in the 80s, completely closed door. And today, day by day, they are only getting towards capitalism. When it goes wrong is when one country is only one way. Like, it doesn't have the time, it doesn't get the time to go that complete cycle of being closed, trying to improve your country, and then slowly opening it up.
Aniket,
like for our country, in 91, we just opened up, man. So there was like, people who sold everything.
I'd like to differ here a little bit, because in the definition what you're trying to say is protectionism. The country is saying we're going to keep our borders closed and protect the infant industries that are still growing from outside competition. But in the very fabric of America was a union between different states, and there was no centralized power. They were United States of America. It was never like the Soviet bloc, which said all the power is with the party at the center, and we will define. America wasn't like that. It was a democratic. It was a
republic.
It was a democratic
one
republic.
Leader every 5 years, every 4 years they keep changing.
And they said external competition is there from Britain, so we'll protect our mills and our companies for the period of time until they are competitive enough to open the borders. China still today internally is more central power to the party and not to one individual, like autocratic system. But they're just saying we still tell our people what to make so that we can export that in the global arena. So there's a little difference in protectionism and communism and capitalism.
Yes, but I was speaking of protectionism in an economic term, where I was saying that the state owns everything, which in turn leads to greater economic equality within the country, because there are no external competitors that come into the country, right?
And exactly, you're completely right, and I agree to that point. And I just want to add one thing is China, one thing they've been really good at is the money that they've made from opening up. They've passed it on to each and every citizen very nicely. But the sheer inequality you see in a complete capitalist majority, there's no perfect extreme America. There is still, they've made a lot of money, but they've not been able to pass it on to each and every citizen.
Right.
USA.
US and India is the same.
Yes,
in terms of that 1%
yes.
rich owns more than the 99%.
Right.
Yes.
Unrich.
Look at Jeff Bezos.
That's something we have in common.
Look at Jeff Bezos. That's exactly Bernie Sanders wanted to do. Put a cap on the super rich. You don't need to be one guy having as much money as 90 countries of the world.
But
Jeff Bezos has more.
Anshu, don't you think it's a game? If you're gonna tell the richest person on the world to have a cap on his wealth, why should we? Let him make as much money as he wants to make. Why should we tell him that, hey, if you're playing this game of capitalism, you're gonna stop at some point because everybody else is not making the same amount of money.
Happens.
It's a little sad because, you know, if you come to think about it, bro, every capitalist country is also a little socialist. Say if you think about the fire department, or you think about the police department, we're all funding it together. It's not being owned by one single company, right? But if we, there are countries like Canada, say, which also have healthcare for all. But in a country like US, they don't have healthcare for all. So there can be sectors of the economy that can be funded by the entire society, and it can still be socialistic, but the country can be capitalistic. Like the fire department. If there's a fire in my neighbor's house, if that comes to my house, I'm fucked. But I need the entire society to fund the police department, even though we are a capitalist society.
But I think that we're not. But if you look at it like that, then it's not like the state is arranging for it. I'm paying for it.
It kind of is.
Yeah,
right?
you're paying your taxes
every month.
I am paying for the police, for the fire department.
The welfare.
Even though we are living in a capitalist society. So the government can't tell us that you have to fund for your own. You have to call the fire department of some company and pay for it if your house is on fire. No, the government will come and douse your fire. But that's just the fire department.
But then because
what if we start taking healthcare?
The government said even if you don't have money, even if I think that's how it is, because even if you're not paying taxes, you call the fire department.
Absolutely.
The fire department.
The police. The police is the best. The military.
Right.
If there is a terrorist attack, the army will protect your borders.
Yes.
They will make sure the terrorist does not bomb Twin Towers if you're working in Twin Towers.
Right.
It's not going to burn, put bomb in a locality where you're staying. It's because the CIA is working and the government is giving salaries of the personnel who are spying and just having the intelligence. So they're working day and night just to keep you safe.
Right.
Yeah. But my point is, coming back to it, when the individual, every billionaire I see is the result of a policy failure. Where the government,
I think of it the opposite way.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I feel it. It's always the onus of the government to foresee where the system can be exploited, and there are individuals, of course, because of our motivation to exploit it and amass as much power for ourselves as we can, because that's the only motivation for freedom, and get out and have self-actualization and be the only one, like Jeff Bezos did, is during the internet boom. He thought, okay, in 1995, internet is a new thing. I can foresee in the next 20 years, there's going to be an e-commerce boom. Everybody is not going to go to, shops and buy things. I'm going to give them to their doorstep. And he worked 15 years, put his head down, and the government had no idea.
No, that's where I disagree. I think, I believe that the reason our country has not produced many billionaires in the last years, and now it's happening. Why? Have you heard people complaining about how the BJP is so brazenly supporting huge industrialists like Adani and Reliance, right? They're getting a great clearance for everything.
Right. It's a good businessman.
It's a good thing. I always think that, for example, Jack Ma, right? The Chinese government supported Jack Ma left, right and center. Not now after he's become a billionaire. He was growing. They thought that this guy is going to lead a big Chinese conglomerate.
I think you could be a little wrong on that fact, because I've been following Jack Ma, and Jack Ma said just one thing. When he was starting out, Jack Ma said just one thing. When I went to the Chinese banks, they did not give me loan. I had to take loan from the American banks. The Chinese banks did not believe in his idea. Because they did not believe in internet.
I think fundamentally, when I hear both your arguments, where the difference lies is that I think you personally don't believe in the concept of a trickle down. Like, say, if you have a bunch of billionaires, it's not going to help a lot of people. Like, their wealth is not going to come down to everybody. But if you have a bunch of billionaires inside a society, maybe we're encouraging more billionaires. Or maybe that's not a fact. If you're playing, it's a game of, say, if we're playing football. Say it's India versus Germany, right? Germany is a much better team, India sucks, right? So if they start scoring goals, say it's crossed 10, it's getting humiliating. Now they've scored 12 goals, 75 minutes in, 12 goals, 13 goals. India is at 0. But we can't tell the German team to stop scoring goals. You can't tell them stop.
Yeah, you
Exactly.
can't.
I think that's very well summed up,
Very good
because
point,
the
very good point.
difference between, I think, to sum it up, like what you said, capitalist and communist societies. Capitalist societies are move ahead with the element of accumulation of wealth, while communist societies are more about the distribution of wealth.
Yeah.
Like,
And what is more important
Yeah.
at the current era is, I think we see more and more inequality in the system, and the capitalist system has already won. We already know that all across the world, majority of people understand the power of money, understand that that's running the system and that is the fuel for the system. But what I am not able to understand is the trickle down. Is it really happening? Is Jeff Bezos really paying enough wage per hour to the lowest employee? I don't believe so.
No, he's not.
He's not paying. But there's also good things about capitalism that I'd like to mention. Is there are guys like Elon Musk who have made technology like that rocket that can go and come back.
Right.
So the amount of taxpayers' money that was wasted in rocket, okay, you launch a rocket and the entire propulsion system doesn't come back.
Right.
Elon Musk said there's a lot of taxpayers' money that's wasted. I'll make a system where you can reuse that thing which is super expensive.
That's a good
That's a
aspect
good
of capitalism.
That's
Absolutely.
exactly-
Elon Musk.
Yeah. So my point is there has to be public-private partnership like PPP systems, but you can't let the individual amass humongous amount of wealth, because then you are creating another parallel government in the name of that individual, and that individual has
But
the power.
Anshul, is-
One point.
Okay,
That
sorry.
individual has the power to become super autocratic. And then you're making a Superman and relying that that Superman will only do good. And then he will make sure it trickles down. What if it doesn't trickle down and says, I'll take an island and do what Jeffery Epstein did, and I'll create my army and missionaries and everybody with guns.
Missionaries.
And nobody can stop him. Jeff Bezos can have an army today of anybody who says, okay, I'll put a manufacturing facility for AK-47. I'll make my own rockets. I'll make my own rocket avoiding systems and have an island, and no army can come and say anything because I'm a sovereign nation.
See, that's where he's
What if
gonna
it does
lose.
that?
That's where he's going
And
to
what
lose.
if all these jihadis say, okay, ISIS, join powers with me? You can't do nothing.
Dude, Anshul, Jeff Bezos is a human being. He's gonna die someday, dude. He's like one of us. He's just a human being with a dick.
But Jeff Bezos has money to put 10,000 human beings to think for him day and night.
Dude, those people are protesting against him. I completely agree with you with the fact that he has a lot of money and he can do whatever the hell he wants. He can wage war. He can wage war. He can go against people. He can go for people, support a government, go against a government. He can support terrorist organizations. He can take over countries. He can do whatever the hell he wants.
Washington
But at the
Post.
same time, he is a human being.
Yeah.
There is gonna be a day in the future that he's gonna collapse and he's gonna die like all of us. And where is his wealth gonna go? I don't know. You don't know. He doesn't know himself. Already half of his wealth has gone to his ex-wife, the richest woman in the world right now. The richest woman in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, it's so weird, right? Like we talk about equality and like equal opportunity and stuff, but the richest woman is Jeff Bezos.
And this
wife.
conversation actually suddenly made me realize something reason. Okay, so let's connect the dots now. Alright. So for example, you said, right? So in a country, for example, Jeff Bezos, right? We need to put a cap on as you said, right? That you said that maybe we need to put a cap on the richest people, right? Who own so much that fucking.
That's why I
cap their
fundamentally
wealth, right?
disagree with that point.
Yes,
I
no,
think
I'm
we
getting
should
to that.
we
I
should
get
just
to that
let
too.
people accumulate as much as they want, and one day they're all gonna die like the rest of us. What if they become superhuman?
But what
They're
about
just
the
able
people-
to
can I- what about the
lengthen
people-
their telomeres to a level that they're not able to die.
Can I just say
Then we
one
have a
thing?
problem.
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah, for sure.
We've seen
These are 10 if you want.
we've seen a single individual as powerful as Hitler, and he's changed the entire course of a country and the world and wage wars against countries. Let me just say, and Hitler had one thing: he had power and people behind him because they believed in Hitler.
Right.
I'm saying today people believe in money, and Jeff Bezos has enough money that he can give motivation to people and make them work the same way people work for small amount of money in factories and hate their jobs. So if he puts an idea out there and uses his money as a motivation for people to work for him day and night, that idea can ruin the goddamn world is what I'm trying to
Isn't he already doing it?
He's already doing it with e-commerce.
Right.
It is messing up with the retail ecosystem entirely all across the globe, and there is disruption happening right now.
I love it as a consumer, dude. I
It
love
is,
Amazon.
but I'll
It's
tell you
great.
something.
It's
As long
perfect.
as-
I'm
I
so
was-
glad Amazon exists.
But I was getting to the second point, right? And I'm saying that,
Yeah.
as you said, right? So there should, and then you said that there probably shouldn't be a cap, right? But then the complication comes that it would be all right for a certain individual to amass as much wealth as he wants to,
Yeah.
if the whole of society had a basic income, right? So that it wasn't that someone's earning $10
What if
million.
there's a loser who doesn't work at all and he just wants money?
But I'm
But
saying
let-
let's look out for the person
Yeah.
who is a loser because
Why?
he can't find him in this.
You can't.
Because
if you decide not
Okay,
to
what if
work
I
and you
like to
expect
paint?
the society
I'm
to pay
saying,
for your
think
needs,
of a man,
don't you think that's a little
think
off?
of a man who likes to just paint. Okay. And
Okay, okay.
He likes to just paint.
Okay.
And he does not want the wealth of his life. All right. He has an accident. A car runs over him.
Right.
A government, as we know, like, and imagine something really serious happens to him. As we all might be aware, that government institutions, they will take you 3 months. If you go to AIMS, it will be 3 months. So it's not good enough. And secondly, if you go to a second power hospital, you won't get good treatment if you have a really serious thing that only a top person can look at.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
see
not
what you mean.
fair.
Yeah. So
Private
if you're
versus
an
public.
artist,
Because-
you're doing something.
Because
You
all
have,
he wanted to do in his life
Hmm.
was not to earn money
Right.
and paint and earn enough for himself to eat. But the day something went wrong in his
right,
life,
right.
He
Some
didn't
big
have enough.
expense comes and he's
yeah,
not able to.
he didn't have enough, and that's not
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah.
So if you have a universal basic income, then it's fair for you to say that Elon Musk, bro, you earn
Earn as much as you
can,
can.
because even the garibest person, I have taken care of him. And again, then coming back to this point,
Yeah.
then
I like this
another
word,
thing
garibist.
Yeah.
Garibest. And you
Yeah.
know, another thing that then I came back to was that if, like you said, right, it's not wrong for a person to earn as much as he wants, like infinite wealth, right? For someone like Jeff Bezos, right? And if you cap in a country like India, for example, if you say that by art say whoever earns more than this amount of money will be taxed 50%. And I've actually had this conversation before with our father and Yash. And it said if in India we cap that, we are a growing country, right? The moment we cap people from becoming wealthy, we demotivate them.
Absolutely.
And what will suffer, because US still doesn't have a cap.
But Aniket, I'm
But
saying
India
there is
has
the
a
cap.
cap,
At $1
right?
trillion US dollars, there is a cap.
But I'm
$1
saying,
trillion
why would you do
dollars.
that if Jeff Bezos doesn't have it? Then India, which is a weaker country, limiting its richest people is absolutely going to lead to India losing its potential of earning more money. Because you've put a cap, right? Demotivation is
The
less.
word you
Money
used
won't go
was
for
the right
industrialization.
word, Aniket. It's about motivation.
Okay.
If your society tells you that you
Motivation.
can
Yeah.
earn only a certain amount of money,
Yeah.
and after that you're going to be hounded,
Yeah.
that's where people are going to think like, hey, what's the point of
What's
this?
the point? मेरे को मिलने नहीं वाला वो
And
सब, why
basically,
would I
bro,
do it?
India
Can I just say
I don't know
that
if you guys will
a
agree with
solution for
this.
would be 50% of the money you earn beyond 1 trillion goes to the welfare
A
of poor.
universal government with a
It should be the-
universal basic pay.
Don't you
Imagine
think it should be
this.
the decision of
What
the
if there
person who
was-
makes the money?
Then-
If you make
then I think the motivation is
Yes,
Dude,
because
Anshul, you
the
said,
universal
that
government
every
sets a
dollar
threshold.
that you make after a trillion, that should go into the welfare of people.
50% of it.
Who decides that?
A collective-
Shouldn't it be, no, don't you think it should be decided by the person who makes the $1 trillion because he's worked his ass off to make that kind of
Yeah,
money?
for
dude?
sure. And he's rewarded for it, and there should be like immense amount of opportunities available for him. My only problem is the capitalist system today penalizes the person who does not earn money by taking away everything from him.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Everything from him. If you don't want to work and live a life of a vagabond, because you don't pay taxes, because you didn't have an Aadhaar card, because there is no transaction on your PAN card, you will not get a loan.
Yeah.
Only because you are working 9 to 5, you had a stable job, you can approach a bank and say, can I have some money to just put money to save my mother because she's dying, let me just complete. And the richest man gets everything because he has done what the capitalist system demands from him. And the poorest person doesn't do what the capitalist system, and he says, there is a need for people to approach their individuality and creative freedom too. I want to look at astrology. I want to do palmistry. I want to make alchemy. I want to make gold out of things. But the capitalist system would not reward him because it does not provide value and employment to people. So the government is saying, we want people who can make money so that other people you can employ. But I'm saying, you have everything, Jeff Bezos, everything that you want, you can ever need, and your 10 generations.
And then what about
How do
groupism?
you know that?
And then what about groupism,
No,
bro?
Maybe
That's
he
clear.
wants to make $1 trillion. Maybe his need is to make a certain amount of money, and we don't know what he wants. Maybe
What
there are
what-
people
what-
dying
how many-
because of no food.
How many
People believe in
billionaires are there?
money.
There are just 1,000 billionaires. How many poor people are there? There are 1 billion plus poor people. I'm just saying, if we talk about veganism and protecting animals, we are not thinking about human beings then.
If you go
We're letting
outside to
inequality-
look for
because
person who
I'll-
need
I'll-
money.
I'll just complete one last thing. There
I'm
is-
not completely
there is-
disagreeing with
there is-
anybody here, but
there
I
is-
get the fact
there
that
is-
what you're talking about.
There
Yeah.
is a constant pie here, Naman. There is pie is only this big.
Sure.
And if one person is gonna take the biggest slice of the pie, think about what's left for the 99%.
But don't you think the pie grows?
It doesn't grow if
It
you
doesn't
only
grow
rely
as
on
big.
trickle down. It
Yeah.
doesn't go as
The same
big
is fine,
the
yeah.
way inequality grows. And Gini coefficient is an economic term which tells you how much inequality the system has based on
Because
some
of
parameters.
groups, look at
I
us,
think
right? What
I have
about
a
private
feeling, I
schools?
completely understand what you guys
Yeah.
are saying, man. But I have a feeling that humans and hierarchies have existed since the time humans have existed.
Yes, and that's wrong.
Like-
Again, going back to the same historical
Why is it
point.
wrong? Hierarchies
Because we
are not a
need to
wrong
keep
thing.
evolving according to the circumstances around us. For example, and you know what, adding to Anshal's point, then it leads to other bad things. For example, what is happening in our country in terms of education, for example, right? Rich people have now their rich people's schools, private schools.
Rich
Right.
people, private
And
hospitals.
government schools have now.
Dude, have you ever seen the kid of a rich kid? They don't make it. Most of them are losers. Most of them don't have a personality.
Bro, we are
They
the
don't
rich
have to
ones in
make
our
it.
country.
Yeah.
We are the rich ones in our country. Like me, you, and him, and whoever is like, wearing
I
branded
agree to
clothes.
your point
or-
too. Yeah, I
or
agree.
like,
there is complacency that sets in. I get your
Absolutely,
point.
yeah.
We are privileged and we have gratitude, but I get
But
your
let's
point.
not worry
There's
about the rich
complacency
man's
on
kid.
that as well.
Yeah,
If you're born with a silver spoon, you don't have to work as hard as your father did,
Right.
and that's the peril of being born in a rich family.
Yeah.
The hunger is always there, but Naman, I believe if you made $1 trillion, you've already made that habit of just working and loving your work. And you can use that extra money that you make in making the world a better place.
Right.
You can't rely on that one individual to just trickle it down, because we see examples of them not trickling it down the right way.
Right.
If there was good amount of examples, I'd say capitalist system
Isn't
is
like
working.
Bill Gates doing it, Zuckerberg is doing it, all these people are giving away all their equity. Am I wrong?
Can I, okay, there's an entire topic I've researched about Bill Gates, what he's actually trying to do, push vaccines and everything.
He's
but
some
I don't
kind of
know.
like supernova guy, right? Like he's trying to take over the world in some way. Like
I
through his
dispute
vaccines,
it.
like
I
shutting
keep
vaccines down
whenever
buttholes.
there's
Crazy Dexter
accumulation of
story.
so whenever there's accumulation of wealth, right? I keep
Would you
coming
take the
back to
vaccine,
again.
brother? Would you take the vaccine?
Yeah, for
the
sure.
COVID vaccine?
You would?
I would, yeah.
You know how much time it took for the penicillin to come out, and how much time it took for the polio vaccine to come out, and then distribution and everything?
Yeah.
It took them 10 years to do the R&D. You know how fast the vaccine for COVID came?
Months.
COVID went for like 6 months, 8 months. The vaccine came in 4-5 months.
All right, but my counter
And
argument
you-
to that
you
is
know the
that
vaccine-
COVID has any disease in the history of talk about polio. Polio is long, bro. I think it was there for about 100 years, and
Yeah.
it killed about the same that we've seen in a year's time in COVID. And COVID has spread to every country in the world. Out of 200 countries, I believe it's in
I'll
170
tell you
countries. So
why.
that's 170 countries
Globalization.
actively trying to
Globalization.
find the cure to a disease which has never happened before, except the previous whatever wo jo
Influenza.
mahamari hui thi na,
Yeah,
the
influenza.
previous epidemic.
I'll
that
tell you
happened.
why COVID spread that fast is because aviation sector and globalization, it is what it is today. And also we are able to we couldn't make the vaccines in polio time is because sharing of information through internet and Zoom calls for all these researchers wasn't possible in the
Right,
lab.
right.
Now we are able to do that, but my only problem is COVID vaccine by Pfizer is a messenger RNA vaccine. So what it's basically doing is going to your RNA, attaching itself and reversing the process of the coronavirus. And coronavirus attaches to your RNA, which is your genetic molecule, and tells the molecule inside to make another virus and replicate. So I don't want to mess up with my genetic code right now, because the world is rushing towards making a vaccine and they want to just cover everybody. I don't want to be like, like Coca-Cola had cocaine for so many years, and after 100 years you realize cocaine is a goddamn drug. And then, for Vietnam US soldiers, the scientists said, okay, let them use heroin. And 30 years later you realize heroin is a super addictive drug. So I don't want to be like, okay, experimental subject in coronavirus 2020 who takes the vaccine and like, okay, I'm immune. And and 20 years later you realize my kids are mutants. I can't have kids anymore. Because it's really going to your RNA and all you have is your RNA and DNA. I don't trust the system too much because I've seen my neighbors having coronavirus. They stayed at home for a few days and coronavirus was gone.
I think that's highly ignorant, man. I mean, especially in terms of what is happening in our country.
Shouldn't it be a personal choice?
I actively know a couple of people who don't have oxygen cylinders, like who don't have access to, and they're having a really hard. They're calling my dad because my dad is in the medical field, right? So I've had a lot of people calling my dad saying कि भाई unconscious है, beds नहीं मिल रहे हैं. So like
I know if you have a lifestyle,
they're having it really tough, right?
It's not because they didn't quarantine appropriately. It's only because the strain of coronavirus or their immune system could not. In fact, I've seen a lot. I have read a couple of articles which say it's actually a lot about the strain. There are a lot of strains, and you'd see in specific enclosed societies, you'll see more death rates because the strain that has spread among that particular society neighborhood is more deadlier than the one that has
mutated.
So can we agree we've had coronavirus in 2003, coronavirus 1?
Yeah,
This is
SARS.
So similar coronavirus. So we've had SARS-CoV-1 and we have SARS-CoV-2 right now. The virus mutates itself every 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
If you take a vaccine that's going to stay in your body forever, because that's how vaccines work, they never exit your body. You're going to be in need of another vaccine because the pharmaceutical company would want to make money again by covering you again with a stronger virus.
Are you an anti-vaxxer, bro?
I am an anti-vaccine. I'm sorry to say, I do not believe what they're putting in my body, and I think it should be my democratic right to say I take vitamin D and I'm going to protect myself with strengthening my immune system. And that is exactly what the pharmaceutical companies don't want. If you have a stronger immune system, the rounds you take to the hospital are going to be less and they're going to make less money. So they're never going to tell you to strengthen your immune system by having amla and more vitamin D, because there is a research by Oxford and independent labs which say enough vitamin D can significantly decrease your chances of having a fatal implication from coronavirus. So all you gotta do is take sun. And what lockdown and quarantine has done is decrease your chances of vitamin
Bro, I
D.
think that's Ramdev talking, bro, because like really actually saying that the fix to coronavirus is dhoop mein dana.
It's vitamin D.
Like vitamin D. Shorten it down and summarize it in terms of saying.
That's hilarious.
अगर तुम धूप में जाओगे तो तुम्हारे chances खोना कम हो जाएंगे.
I'll tell you why.
He's not completely wrong,
I'll
but
tell you why.
what you just said was very funny, bro.
I'm saying that we're laying a very dangerous line if we
not-
start thinking like
It's
that.
not, Aniket,
Yeah.
it's not that I'm saying that it's bad. It's not that I'm saying it's bad to believe science. I'm just saying coronavirus is not life-threatening. If you have a very strong immune system, there are very good chances that nothing's going to happen to you, and we have proof, okay? All I'm saying is there is a linkage with your body having enough vitamin D, and vitamin D gives you better immunity. And with the lockdown and quarantine, we're actually asked to stay indoors, and the entire lobbies are just saying, "Ghar ke bahar mat niklo." How are you going to get your vitamin D? And there are studies which have proven vitamin D is good. Take vitamin D capsule at least for the healthcare workers. Vitamin D deficiency is sab mein.
Right.
And you know, with Indians having melanin, what melanin does is melanin is a protective feature from ultraviolet radiation. It protects us from the bad things of sun. But what it also does is slows down the processing of vitamin D. So it takes more time for an Indian or an African to process and get vitamin D in those 15 minutes window, but less time for a white person.
But
So it's actually worse for people in Nigeria and South Africa to get their vitamin D dosage.
Are white people, like, I think one of the things, the starking difference about COVID is, since the beginning till now,
Yeah.
the richest classes have been affected by it. Always.
Yeah.
White people, for sure, man. Europe was at a really bad stage. Even now, I read in
Yeah.
UK, like, you
Yeah.
keep saying, right? We're still in a bad stage. US, man, like,
Yeah.
yes, I get it. Like,
With
that
the
they're
lockdown.
getting higher rates because they test a lot, but even their death rates are not lower.
I'll tell
than
you
us.
why. Because those are all the countries that rely most on allopathy and medicines, and they have the highest cases of lifestyle issues because they're sedentary lifestyles and junk food and all the perils that come with capitalist lifestyles. India is not at the privilege of having the capitalist system take care of it with money. All of us are working our asses off. Most of them are out in the sun more.
What if it's just shit happens?
Yeah.
No, I'm saying what if it's just that shit happens, like, and
What do you
shit
mean?
keeps happening. Like it's got nothing to do with like, you know, like
There's science behind
skin,
things.
melanin, and places, areas, things happening. I think periodically shit happens.
Do you think we've started to get corona fatigue as people, like just thinking about coronavirus all the time, talking about vitamin D and all these things? I mean, you seem really amped up about it, and same here, like, you know. But at the same time, man, I think the biggest learning that we have had from this coronavirus shit is everybody's become an immunologist, man. We know how to take care of our bodies much better than we did in 2019, bro.
Yeah.
We understand aerosol, we understand water droplets, we are understanding more about viruses,
How
vitamin
wash
D.
20 seconds हाथ कैसे धोने?
मैं नहीं करता भाई 20 सेकंड के लिए. Who the fuck's gonna waste so much water? Yeah.
There's so much water wastage with washing 5 times a goddamn day, man.
Right.
Oh, guys, like I think you know what wastes water a lot? It's cooking of meat. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It consumes a lot.
And you know what
water.
really
Like,
wastes
you'd
water?
be really surprised.
Can I tell you what
by
really
how
wastes
much water
water?
goes into cooking meat.
You know how much water is wasted when you grow wheat? How much water is wasted for a farmer?
That's true. That's true.
So
but,
much of
but
it.
wheat is truly subsistence.
How do you say that? Animal subsistence too for somebody who's carnivore diet.
Bro, wheat, you're not killing nothing with wheat.
Okay.
But there are a
Killing
bunch of
the
people who
land.
have like gluten.
You know when you
problems.
one cycle of wheat, what it does to the land, it makes it barren completely.
Then my friend, I would say to you, that is as far as I'm willing to go. Killing the land.
We should have a girlfriend on the podcast,
Yeah.
man. Maybe she could talk about veganism and
Oh
like,
my
you know,
god, dude.
She must be really putting you through a lot of
Crazy.
propaganda, brother.
No,
Come to our side, man.
No,
We make you eat a nice piece of fucking chicken breast.
No dairy, no dairy, no
it's not
dairy.
like that. And honestly, it's very hard for me to be without dairy, man.
What do you like the most?
Paneer and cheese.
Milk, dude.
Milk? You like milk?
Yeah, dude,
Drinking milk?
I think till this day, actually ever since I've gone to Bangalore, it's decreased. But in Delhi, every day I think I had about half a liter, which might not be much, but like for me
it's actually worse
every
on a
day.
cow.
That's why you're a tall boy.
Yeah.
You've been drinking your milk.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, you know the stories about dairy industry and how they're getting secretion milk, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it only happens
It's
when the
not
mother
that-
is lactating,
Yeah.
right? So what they usually do is cut the head of the child and they put it near to the mother. Thinks the child is sucking it.
Really?
No,
That's
yes.
really gruesome.
Yeah,
What
that's
I knew
gruesome.
was they bring the baby closer.
Yeah,
When he starts sucking, they take the baby away.
Yeah, but what's also happening?
Sar kaat ke laate.
Yep, because they have to do it 24/7.
And the cow was like, hey, my baby.
Dude, nothing
And
about
the
humans
smell,
surprises
the
me
smell,
anymore.
and they stuff the head with barn and they keep the baby's head because there can't be so many babies along with mothers. There's not enough space. So what they do is the scent. The mother never turns back,
That's
and the
so
cage is
sad,
super
man.
small. And you put a suction pipe there, and she thinks the baby is sucking it.
Yeah.
It's not the real baby.
Yeah, actually, that does make me want to think if I want to continue drinking milk.
It's a lot of pressure
Or
on the
not.
cow. It's a lot of pressure on the cow. The same way
Because
lot
I
of
can only
pressure on
survive.
chickens to make eggs. You're just making them lactate, and it's artificial lactation for cow to make milk. We love milk. Amul दूध पीता है इंडिया. गाय बर्बाद हो रही है भाई अमूल दूध से.
अमूल दूध गाय भी बर्बाद कर रहा है and they're also sponsoring Republic TV.
Oh, really?
Arnav Goswami.
Basically, the only things they got right was those cartoons they came up with.
Oh, yeah. The Budiya.
Utterly delicious.
Yeah, utterly
Amul.
delicious. Yeah.
Nationalist नाम पे bro. In the name of nation.
Uh-huh.
आप गाय माता को एक्सप्लॉइट कर रहे हो.
Right.
बीजेपी को पता है बात क्या.
Dude, but like imagine the kind of repercussions one could have by talking against Amul. Amul could be a mafia, man. Like, maybe they have these gundas like they sponsor.
Imagine
if somebody
this-
talks against
we
Amul,
go-
you could be screwed,
Yeah,
bro.
I go out of here and shot with a
Some
milk
good
bullet, man.
Pellet Amul.
But, dude, and it just disappears. This is blood and milk. Like, what? Amul.
सोच तो जिस भी सीट पे बैठ रहा है उस पे कोई घी गिरा दे भाई. Everything is pach bro.
Monica Lewinsky ghee.
He's like walking on the floor and there's ghee
There's
everywhere.
Amul DNA everywhere.
Yeah.
What the
No,
fuck?
stop making that gesture.
देखिए घी का.
Goo.
अमूल घू खाता है इंडिया.
No, man.
Oh भाई.
Guys, we're all gonna die one day, dude.
Yeah, man. Enjoy as you can and eat anything.
I think I've talked about death almost thrice on this podcast. There's something, man.
And you've enjoyed talking about it. Same.
Dude, I keep thinking about this topic a lot. Like, why the hell would one want to live a long life when you can live a life which is more full of life, you know? Rather than thinking about how long can one live.
I swear to God, yeah. For
even though I think living long might be beneficial if you're like investing your money, or if you have some kind of a hobby that you really like to pursue, or if you're creating art, or you know, if you run an organization which is employing a lot of people, or if you're someone like Jeff Bezos or somebody, you know, who's like, you know, creating shit,
I think as you grow up,
or like an artist, Van Gogh or some kind, you know.
But I think as you grow up, you also realize that, you know, the hard part, because when you're young, right, and you're growing up and you're thinking that I would just, like, you know, give my life up for whatever, right? I would just live till 35 to my health.
Yeah.
Then, I mean, like, but then you've decided that 35 tak mujhe jeena hai, and then suddenly 36 comes. 7 also comes.
I had thought I'd die at 35, but here
and
I am.
Like, bhai, ab to main, matlab, ab kya do I kill myself? Which is no, right? Because I want to preserve myself.
Yeah.
So what do? And then you just turn into an uncle. Because you don't know how to live, but there's no other choice. You're just like,
dude, if you think of a person like Jimi Hendrix, dude, he died at 27, but everybody knows about Jimi Hendrix.
But accidentally,
like,
he maybe died on his puke, man. He choked on his puke.
Really?
And died, yeah.
A lot of people died like that. Amy Winehouse died like
puke
that.
and died.
I think Amy Winehouse did die like that. Maybe not.
So it wasn't intentional. Like, maybe he was crying.
Right. But somebody like Jimi Hendrix, I think he lived. I think he died at 27, but he's lived the life of a 70-year-old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What do you think of if Jimi Hendrix or Jim Morrison or Kurt Cobain had not died at 27? Would you think their legacy would be the same way?
No, I think it would have been much better.
Much better.
Yeah,
I
they
think
would have
they would
created.
have faded away just like David Gilmour or all those guys.
Absolutely.
Roger
that's a good
Waters.
point.
Absolutely.
Like they were great when they were young, crazy, want to live a life like that, set a tone for the youth.
Right.
What about
Now
Sushant Singh? You think everybody would have been so
I was
crazy
just
about
thinking
Sushant
about
Singh
him,
if he
bro.
wouldn't have died?
I just
People,
thought about him.
I honestly had never spared a
It's
thought
sad
because I
part.
didn't really think of him.
That's
Right?
the sad part of society.
After when he died, like
Right.
it even got to me like in the sense that like not I never said to a person ye nahi hona chahiye or something, but I just thought like, you know, oh man, that was sad, he died. And then now I remember him as, and now when I look at a video I go like, arey yaar, ye banda to like, you know, wow, how happy looking he is.
You only miss you when you let her go, when you let her go.
But dude, like people who are taking these anti-depression medications, we don't know what the kind of shit they're going through. These benzos, these methamphetamines, all these like crazy medications that people, there's like over the counter.
Methamphetamines?
Dude,
Right.
people are
Yeah.
taking all kinds of medications for depression, and I don't want to see. I'm a dummy, bro. I don't know about depression and anxiety and all this. I've faced it myself, but at the same time, I won't tell somebody who's taking these medications to stop taking them. But the dependency is really real, bro. And like someone like Sushant Singh Rajput, who has now been documented for taking these medications, once you get off of these medications, you get suicidal, dude.
Yeah.
It's a real thing.
Yeah.
And it's happening with my friends, bro. I have friends in my life at this point who are taking these medications and then they're not able to get off of these.
Yeah. That just brings me to a question. I mean, you know, like we were talking about pharmaceutical organizations and they give you a short-term fix to an immediate problem, but is it sustainable? So would you recommend a depression patient to a psychologist rather and have it out with conversation and regular therapy, or would you say take a nitrosin 10 and fix your mind and just smile, man, be happy? And that's the problem with the money-making life sciences and a long-term, more human-based approach.
Dude, one of the biggest problems I have with this is when people on social media or even people in reality, they kind of tell you that you should not tell a person taking these medications what to do. You know what I mean? Like if you tell a person who's suffering through depression and is taking these medications they're dependent on, and you tell them don't take these medications because you're going to get hooked on them and you're not going to be able to get off of them, then you are the asshole. Because you are telling them what to do, that's not the right thing. A psychologist will tell them because they are the medical medical professionals. But at the same time, that they take away from the fact that you might have felt the same things. I might have felt depression, and if I talk to somebody who has depression at this point and I tell them I fixed my sleep cycle. I started working out. I started drinking more water, and now I feel better. Maybe you can try that. Am I
What if
an
it's
asshole
not
for
that?
saying that?
What if it's not that?
No, exactly. I believe, Aniket, what you're trying
Because
to do.
I don't think it's that. I think depression
It's also mental disorder. It's a
is
disorder.
something that exists.
Yeah,
But
it's a strain. It's a
what I'm trying
genetic.
to say is that it's like
nothing
it's
gets
like
it
assuming
makes it
because
better.
it's a
Because even
good
I have
fact.
faced it, and I completely believe
Yeah.
that the true state of depression is very, very dark. It's
It is.
super.
But like if somebody
There are
tells you to
stages to
fix
it.
your lifestyle, like
It's
you
harder
can
to-
you will probably assume that I have never faced what you are facing.
Yeah.
But it could be the fact that I have also faced what you are facing. It can't be the same but similar. You know what I mean? Like if I'm at a better point at this point in my life because I fixed a few things in my life. But if I tell you to do something, you might assume that you've never faced anything like that and you're being an asshole.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I want the best for you. I want you to feel life.
Yeah, and we don't want you to get hooked on the drugs and
Yeah,
you take the
man.
short-term fix. But maybe, like Aniket said, there might be a genetic disorder, and there might be you might be beyond repair. You might be at a point where just tweaking your lifestyle choices is not going to help you, brother. You're actually not being able to sleep. Even if you think sleeping at 10 and waking at 6, your eyes are just awake with the lights off.
yeah.
You
And
can't
what if you
shut off
can't
your
sleep?
mind.
What if you can't sleep?
You can't sleep.
Then you go for sleeping medicines, right? For example, I mean, I know a friend,
That's
right?
so shitty, dude.
Who doesn't sleep
That
for
happens, yeah.
4 days straight. And I'm
Oh,
not
man.
kidding, man. It's true. 4 days straight, like back to back to
That
back. to
scares
back.
me. Like right now, I have
Me
this
too,
like,
man.
feeling inside me.
Same
Not being
feeling,
able to
bro. It
control
really
of your
scares
body.
me. And then,
Yeah.
you know what? I'm telling you, you speak to them and you will start getting angry. I mean, because it's so hopeless a situation, right? That at the end of it, you even want to blame the other person. Like, you want to say, why are you not sleeping for 4 days? It's did you try? Did you truly try? Because that's what it gets to, right? Until you
Right.
realize that
Yeah.
Being a
shit,
friend versus
Yeah.
being a coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
can't entertain such kind of behavior from your friends, man. I have very high standards for the people who are around me, bro.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get very critical of the people who are around me who don't take care of themselves, who are not doing the right things for
Yeah, me
themselves.
too,
So I
me
try
too.
and talk to them, I try and tell them, hey man, if you try a few things, maybe
Yeah.
it's difficult, I understand. You know what? Sleeping is not easy. For even people who are not depressed, it's an art. It's something.
It's a habit, man. It requires discipline. For
Yeah.
sure.
Oh damn, bro! I mean, I don't think so because I think I
Aniket,
can
Aniket
sleep.
is
So
a-
everybody
he's got a
knows
natural talent
knows
with
one thing.
sleeping.
Really?
I
You
can
have some
sleep
tips?
standing.
Yeah,
I am
for
not
sure.
kidding, and when I say that, because it's happened to me in life, right? Like when you're in school,
Have you
right?
slept standing?
Bro, yes, because when I used to go to school, right, on school buses, and sometimes I used to enter, and there was all the seats were filled, right?
Right, so
Have
you
you
are-
seen people standing and sleeping? You must have, right? In metros, so many times there are these people who just like.
Right,
drowsy. Yeah,
sort
Right,
of
no,
drowsy.
I could totally be one of those. I don't prefer it if I'm standing, but
Yeah.
like absolutely, if I've been given money, I could totally just drift off to sleep while standing.
You should
sitting.
really apply for those courses for NASA, bro, where they're
6
asking you
months.
to 6 months.
I
and
did. I did write to them. Really? Yeah, there was this thing that NASA came out with, and they said sleeping, and they have this form where they said, why do you want to, why do you think you are perfect? And I think I did
love
something of the
sleeping.
same thing. I
What
said-
is it about? What is this about?
They're
It's an
saying
experiment,
the
yeah.
effects on your body if you're horizontal for a prolonged period of time,
Yeah.
or the effects on your body, and they're going to treat you as a subject into an experiment on
Yeah.
100 to
For
100
6
people.
months.
And
Ah.
see,
Put you to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta
I
sleep.
think I'd
for
go
6
crazy,
months.
bro.
I think I'd be fucked in the
I mean,
lower back.
it'll be induced. It'll be an induced coma.
Uh-huh.
But well, I was really, in the part where they said, why do you think you're perfect, or something like
They
that.
pay you a lot of money
I
for it,
can't
right?
remember.
A lot of money for it.
What do
for
they
nothing.
inject you with acid?
Oh, they pay a lot
A
of money
lot of
for
money,
it. Dude. They pay
1
a lot
lakh
of money for
month's time.
sleeping. No.
You end up with
No.
like 6 lakh rupees by the end of it for doing that.
Bro, yeah.
You go to
Dude.
coma, man, okay?
And they're like, do you love sleeping? And in the thing they had said, for people who really like to sleep and who have a natural affinity for
Passion.
sleeping, I read it and I was like,
Yeah.
me!
I am the
This is
perfect
for
candidate,
me.
I have the perfect resume
I
for
sleep
it.
a lot,
Hire
man.
me.
I sleep a lot.
Yeah.
You sleep a lot?
I sleep for hours.
Nice. Like, what's your sleeping cycle like? What's your circadian rhythm? Share it with us, bro.
Bro, it depends on work days and weekends, right?
Yeah.
Like I would like to say the weekends are the truth, right? Because they point towards the more what I would naturally do, right? So I say about I fall asleep at around 3 because I'm
3
I'm
a.m.?
nocturnal, yeah. Because
Yeah.
I really like to stay awake during the night. So like maybe that could be why.
What do you do in the night?
YouTube.
Between 10 and 3.
Not YouTube.
Say between 10
I
and 3.
swear, I
Even
don't.
if you
I
watch
want to
YouTube.
say no man on YouTube
Dude,
because
I think that's the only time you get, right? Otherwise you're working.
I would listen to a
That's why
podcast.
videos
I would
like,
listen to a
you know,
podcast.
oh,
I would
yeah.
see a YouTube video in the night. I would do something frivolous as well, man. Like, if you're up after 10, most probably either you're engaged in some artistic work
Yes.
or you're just
because
procrastinating.
most of my writing has been after 12.
Yeah.
I write,
Yeah.
but nighttime. When I was younger, I was obsessed. Like to the point when I even told my mom and stuff. Like that
Upar mat
raat
aana.
ka time is
Mera
like,
time hai.
I stay awake because it gives me, it motivates me. I like the night. A lot of stuff that I've written about was about. In fact, I remember one of the first things that I wrote was about street light. And how under the street light, there's a lot of flies always were competing against each other to get to the street light.
Yeah.
So that was one of the first things I've written about.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
How often do you write, like in the night? Do you write it? Do you write every day?
Now,
Honestly,
it's,
just be honest.
Now I hardly write. Like I hardly write.
But you stay up?
I stay up. Yeah, I stay up. Yeah.
What do you think's other steps?
Well, like for example, like day before yesterday, right? I watched 3 hours, and I swear to God,
Watched
it
what,
must
3
be
hours?
destructive. 3 hours I watched World War One and World War Two.
Oh, I've seen it.
In color?
Entire documentary. That's only
Yeah,
World War Two.
man.
So I'd seen World War Two way before. I saw it again, and I think I'm watching it for the fifth, sixth time. Not this one. This time I switched to you. The one you're talking about is on Netflix, right? World War Two in color.
Yeah.
But this time, there's this channel called History TV on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
It's a channel.
Yeah, it's a channel.
Yeah.
And they give
Very
out
good
these
name for a
really
channel.
good animated videos, and they only had for World War One. Then on some other channel I watched World War Two. But yeah, that's the kind of stuff like
Nice.
3 hours, yeah.
At least you're watching a documentary. That's kind of be stimulating,
Yeah, bro,
right?
I'm
That's
really
awesome.
into world history. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I'm in Paul Science. So
Paul Science. You're going through all that woke shit.
Yeah. I think it brings me to the conversation we are having, bro. You remember we were talking about how there is a propensity for artistic people to really believe that most of their creativity will come out at night, and it's not in the daytime that I'm going to be super creative. It's
Right.
the night time. It's my time.
The night!
The night, and also a lot of fools, creative fools, can make themselves believe that after smoking a joint, I am super creative, man. You know? It's everything about.
I'm not even kidding. Like when we
creative
started
comes out.
smoking, right?
Yeah.
It was a different field. Do you guys remember how it was when we started
Yeah.
smoking? I'm not sure if I want to get into this, but it's a really good phase.
Right.
When you're new to it,
Yeah.
it's a really good phase. It's all roses, right?
Yeah.
Because I think for everybody the first year is denial. Nobody thinks that they are addicted to smoking.
Yeah.
Right.
Everybody thinks this is just a passing phase.
Yeah.
And so
Right.
like
And you can't get addicted to smoking
Yeah,
after.
you read blogs like
It's cannabis.
It doesn't
Anytime
have
I want,
resistance.
I can keep it
doesn't
low.
have resistance, bro. There's no withdrawal if you stop it.
Anytime I want, I can just keep it, man.
You become a
It's
zealot for
all-
cannabis, basically,
Yeah.
because it's such a great thing.
Yeah.
Like honestly, it takes you to such crazy high level of consciousness sometimes. Like
Sometimes,
because
yeah.
It's what I feel about cannabis. Sometimes I feel like when you do smoke it, there's a connection between nature and your brain, and it takes your soul to the part of nature that the plant was connected to. So your thoughts, I mean, yeah,
Well, I relate
your
to
thoughts
this.
kind of.
Yeah, I relate to this too, but that's the exact argument.
not,
like,
not a
cannabis
rational
smokers.
point of view, but more like a
I
philosophical.
like being in
it's
nature when
it's like if my body is a transmitter of, and when there's a new substance that gets involved in my consciousness,
Yeah.
it gets connected to a consciousness that that has existed
for long.
Like it has taken the patterns of the earth it has grown on.
Yeah.
And I know this sounds like really like hippie bullshit, but at the same time,
I'll tell you what
I
it
felt
makes
this
you want
last
to do.
night, man. I smoked a joint with a friend, and I take long breaks, bro. I take really long
No,
breaks.
but I think that's the part we gotta all make.
I don't give a shit, bro. If the cops come outside my house for me admitting smoking a joint, I think like I'm gonna go out like this when the cops take me, bro. Like I don't give a shit. So when I did smoke the joint last night, man, I felt like holy shit, like my body kind of disassociation from my body. That real feeling of knowing that this is my body is not me.
Yeah.
I am not
That's
my
true,
fucking
yeah.
body.
I'm not the
My
body. I'm not the
shit.
mind. I'm not the body. I'm not the mind. Yeah.
But when it actually hits you, you know what I mean? Like theoretically, we kind of know these things. A lot of people don't know these things. Like they just kind of like live their lives thinking that this
Atma.
body is me, these thoughts are mine, all of these things are real. But when you get connected to a herb which is growing on the earth and then it burns and goes inside you, and then you start thinking about the shit that, hey man, it's making you feel about life. You know what I mean? Like the people who are around you, you're more sensitive to auras, you're more sensitive to your own thoughts. You start thinking more, but at the same time, it's more like overwhelming. You start shivering in the cold and you're just looking around and people are smiling at you and you're just thinking like, holy shit, I am alive, but I am not my thoughts. This body is not mine. I'm gonna die one day and I don't care if my creativity goes to shits. Okay,
and
I want to be creative.
No, you're right.
I don't even know what I'm saying.
No.
You scared me when you said that I should omit this part out, man. Like, because it's
okay.
illegal, right?
No, it's not.
But
okay.
imagine
consume it. It's okay.
Imagine if alcohol was illegal.
You don't possess
imagine
it
if
anymore.
coffee was illegal. All of these things are real, right?
Everything. I think once an old man said to me, he said to me in a very, you know how some people, like, you know, some old people speak Hindi and they speak in almost like a sing-song language, especially in Punjab. If you go now, some people say only. So he said to me something along the lines of, 100 bande mein ek banda rahega. He was a Supreme Court lawyer. He said, okay, I don't know, I can't be for sure. I was actually I was at Hanuman Mandir after my Spanish class. I was at Instituto Cervantes, and right after that, I came downstairs and he was smoking a joint, and this guy in a suit, right, his uncle, old uncle, I see he's coming and I think, bro, he's going to say ki what you guys are doing, right? He comes and he says, sir, mujhe prashad milega. Something along those lines. He used the word prashad and he said, haan, zarur. And we passed him joint, right? And then he started speaking about himself and he spoke in that sort of sing-song language that I'm saying, right? Everything he said has certain rhythm to it. And when he said, and then I said, sir, aap itne time se pee rahe ho, right? And so like, what is your opinion on it? Do you think it's bad? Do you think it leads to like mental blockage or something? And he was like, 100,000 बंदों में 1000 बंदे गिर जाएंगे पर उनमें से एक खड़ा रहेगा वह गांजा पीने वाला परंतु जो सीमा में पीता है. And it actually hit me hard.
That's true.
बम बोले ना.
That's true.
He was like सीमा सबसे जरूरी है.
सीमा बहुत जरूरी है.
To
भाई.
know when you are choosing it,
right,
and you are smoking it, and when it's smoking you,
right.
Yes.
You gotta take long breaks, man.
Yeah.
It cannot be a daily thing. If you're smoking marijuana on a daily basis, brother, I feel for you.
Yeah, you're messing it up.
You're messing it up. You're doing it the wrong way. You're not respecting the substance. The substance is getting the better of you.
You're not recreating yourself, man.
Just like alcohol too, right? A beer, like a couple of times a beer, if in a month you drink, right? You're actually doing it right because you feel you get more buzzed, and you like it more, right? Because this buzz feeling is great.
Right.
If you're doing it every day,
you're screwed.
Then there's surely something that's reflecting insecurity or something shortcoming on your part.
Right. Yeah. Dude, I absolutely love embracing my sober self, bro. My sober self is so stimulated, so sharp. I'm able to create stuff, write stuff, work on my business, work on my projects, work on work, jobs. I can like do things, clean my room, talk to people, be with family, take care of my dog, clean my room, do everything that's needed to be done in the real physical space that we are in.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Be a part of the Maya and be very nicely.
Right.
But sometimes you have to just disassociate from the identity that we've created in the external world. And
right.
Say, Naman takes care of a dog, his family, his friends, he does a job, every colleague knows Naman lives like this. Sometimes you gotta say, okay, Naman's gotta recreate himself too. Naman's gotta see from an eagle eye what's Naman been doing. But you can't be doing it every day, then you're destroying yourself. You're not recreating yourself. You're always questioning, you're always paranoid, and I've been paranoid when I've done it. In the past, I've always questioned myself. Every time I start to question myself a lot when I do it for a prolonged period.
Right.
I don't make decisions faster. I feel like I'm super indecisive too.
Right.
I'm okay, what am I gonna do, man? Okay. What if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? Because there's a doer and there's a witnesser. There's guys who are witnessing and there's somebody who's doing it. And I'm hyper aware of my thoughts too. And I'm not aware of it from the perspective of one should. I'm more aware of it from an omnipresent, all-seeing eye of a unified consciousness, maybe. I mean, if I'm using the right word.
Dude, you make complete sense when you say that you look at yourself from the top.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because when we're awake, our frontal cortex is kind of connected with our subconscious, and we're always making sense of things. Everything that we do when we're awake, we're just continuously making sense of patterns, thoughts, everything that we're doing. Survival mode, you know, and just trying to make sense out of things at all points. But when you do mess with that frequency, with that
Yeah.
smoke in the air
Yeah.
once a month,
Once a month.
you are able to take that vantage point and look at your life from the top and be like, hey, okay,
What is this guy doing now?
right.
Why did I do that? And what is worse is when you try to judge yourself when you were sober and that action or that conversation comes. Why did I say that, man? Why was I that person?
Anger, frustration.
And from a neutral perspective, you said that because you were that person then and you were carrying all the personal experiences of your existence and you said it. But now
I think
you're
that's
this
self-actualization.
yeah, and then there is this sage, this temporary short-term sage which is seeing the actions of a mortal being and what he's done, and you can't be too self-critical to yourself. I've had really bad trips of just questioning myself. I didn't do the right thing, man, you know. I think you just have to dissociate and also enjoy it and know how to just balance it.
Because
A lot of
you're all
people
you got.
Aniket, you said that you were writing,
So
right?
hard.
So when you do write, do you find yourself being extremely self-critical of yourself? Because I find myself doing that sometimes. When you write, what do you write about? Say you have a blank paper.
Let's say if I were to write, I write about everything. There's nothing, but if I were to say constant things that would come up in my writing, it would be nature and it would be relationships, like different feelings that come out of different relationships, friends even. Like, you know, I can imagine poems that I've written because of friendships as well. Yeah, a lot of romance as well.
Yeah,
Because
brother.
obviously it brings out
Yeah.
a lot of creativity.
I like
Love
that
and
song.
romance is all a man
Aniket, what's
sometimes
that-
thinks of.
What's that one
With
song
the
of
dick.
yours?
Yeah.
What's that one song of yours you wrote when we were young? It's Blue Sky.
Yeah, dude, you remember that? That's really
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
You wrote a song?
It was such a,
Yeah,
such a-
I've
such
many
a-
songs, yeah.
Such a soothing
Nice.
song, man. Like Owl City.
Can you sing a little verse from it?
Fireflies.
Do you remember?
Bro, I do remember. It's been so long though. Yeah, the one he's talking about.
Yeah, that
it
was a
was
nice
cool.
song.
It was
Yeah,
cool.
if you can sing it, man, that'd be nice.
Is blue skies are angry, firing water and throwing them away. Where is the summer shine? Green waters breaking in our hearts and lives. Where is the summer light? And if you want me, and if you need me for anything, and if you want me, and if you need me up,
Yeah, man. We got nice
Mumbles.
songs, bro.
long time, man. Yeah.
it's
Thanks,
nice,
bro.
long time.
It's good stuff, good stuff.
Good stuff.
You should keep writing, man.
Yeah,
Create
man,
more
I should,
songs.
yeah,
Write more.
sure.
Like, we need to do this, man. We need to
Yeah,
like create
slowly.
art.
Yeah,
How old were you when you wrote this, bro?
I was in 8th or something.
8th grade student writing something like that, dude.
I was a dummy when I was in 8th.
I swear to God, all I gave a shit about was like playing video games and which girl is gonna give me more attention tomorrow, man.
But like I say it all the time, right? These are like a collection of songs that are about Anshika. So if I ever want, I could totally. I keep thinking I should actually. You know how Maroon has an album called Songs About Jane, like whoever Jane is,
I don't
right?
know.
I should. So Maroon 5's album, their most famous album, is called Songs About Jane.
Okay.
I think I should also come out with an album that's like songs about Anshika, which is all.
Anshika
this-
is your girlfriend?
Yeah. So
Okay.
all.
How long have you dated Anshika for?
So we know each other since I was in 7th.
Oh, wow, that's like
Yeah.
childhood love, bro.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
I shifted to Bangalore because of her.
Dude, that's really special because you know, like sometimes when you do pass out of school, you don't really like get in touch with your loves. You know, like
That's
the
true.
kind of girls that you dated. Like
Yeah.
things, life changes, you go around, and you know
Yeah.
things happen. But
That's
that's really
true.
great that
That's
you've been
true.
able to keep
Yeah.
that together.
No,
man.
actually, yeah, it was kind of destiny because like, we stopped talking in the middle after school and all.
Sure.
It was until like it was like a movie I saw her at a wedding after like years.
It would have been a movie if you saw her at her wedding.
No, thankfully not. I
Like,
saw
baby
her-
girl, come with me.
That'd be sad movie, bro.
No, if you saw her at her wedding and you took her away, it's like, Anshika, don't get married. I'm gonna take you away. Let's go to Ladakh and let's live there for 6 months.
That'd be
And
sad
we're not
for you,
gonna get
dude.
married.
And somebody's
That's some
gonna be
Three
super
Idiots
sad.
shit.
Somebody's gonna be super sad in that scenario, man.
Imagine being the guy who's getting married to that chick whose boyfriend comes and takes her away. and you're just there with your dick in your
दुल्हन
hand.
कहाँ है? दुल्हन कहाँ है? वो
The
घोड़े पे भाग गई.
feeling of the boyfriend and the feeling of the to be husband is inversely proportional in that particular case. वो ले या तो भाई
किसी की खुशी किसी का दुख, किसी का दुख किसी की खुशी.
खुशी
Oh भाई, poles apart man, polarizing feeling.
So dude, I want to listen to this. So you met Anshika at the wedding, and then what? Like you guys hit it off again?
Yeah,
If you don't mind talking about it.
No, it's cool. It's cool. I saw her again, and then I messaged her that very night, and nothing. Oh yeah, then she didn't speak to me. Yeah.
She's giving you some
She's
attitude.
Mad. She's mad. She's fucking mad at me. We spoke for some time
Yeah.
until one day, suddenly, we spoke, and I was like, "What is wrong?" She's like, all of a sudden, things that were like 4 years old, 3 years old,
Started surfacing.
came out.
Yeah.
And I really did not think it'd be that serious. But suddenly, like next time I called her phone was off. And then her phone was off for the next 6 months.
So her phone was off for 6 months?
Maybe she changed her number.
She went off grid?
She changed her number.
Ah, smart
Because
chick.
She didn't like want to speak to me anymore.
She wasn't there on social media.
She was.
That must have
I
been a
used to
bummer
write to
for
her,
you, right?
Some ways like a loser, then I send her like, hey, Anshika.
Or good testimonial page.
hey, yeah. No, that was good Facebook. I was in college, right? So like, you know.
Hey, hope you are well.
Yeah.
Hope you are well.
You were that needy guy at that point, just wanting to talk to
like,
her.
hey, how are you? You look so beautiful at the wedding.
I saw you from afar. I waved
No,
at you.
bro, but it was totally like that. I don't know how cheesy it was because that's how much I was taken apart. Like when I saw her at the wedding, when I went back, I was totally like, oh my god, you looked so gorgeous at the wedding. Because it was true. I was like, oh my god.
I don't want to judge you, but you
After
should have
long,
just
yeah.
tell her to her face, like, you know, instead of texting her, like, you look really good. You could have just gone up to her and, hey, say, Anshika, you look hot as fuck today, dude. Why don't you just take some of my saliva? Ah, so disgusting. let's swap some spit.
I think my way worked better.
I swear to God, I was like, Aniket, you have changed. You're the same Aniket I know. And then she would have said, attitude दिखाती हूँ, but हूँ तो प्यारी ना. You know, it's right in front of my eyes. We're talking about communism, capitalism. I'm looking at pop up girls, bro.
Dude, that's ultimate
Yeah.
capitalism right there.
We gotta put it in the podcast, bro. I think it's gonna be the ending frame of this video.
Why not?
Attitude दिखाती हूँ, but प्यारी तो हूँ ना.
Oh,
Damn. What do you say, guys? It's a 2-hour long podcast anyway.
how long have we been going on?
I think 2 hours, man. What do you say?
Well, it's 1 hour 56
Damn,
minutes.
I think we can like
Put a cap on it.
Put a cap and
Yeah.
100%. But this was fun, man. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
This is a lot of fun.
Awesome, bro. Super glad you could do it, man.
Absolutely, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be fun.
Yeah. It was good, man. It's very good.
I don't know how many people are going to be listening to this, but like this is just 3 friends having a conversation.
Yeah.
And do tune in, listen to us, man, because you know this is super important. We got to be able to talk about these things, man, and just talk.
And
Open space, safe
Open
space.
Yeah. And it's also about something about podcast when it happens. It puts you in a place where you're automatically wanting to put value.
Yeah.
You're not just taking the conversation like an everyday conversation.
Yeah.
And you're also having a perspective that people are going to listen. I'm going to look back to it, and I'm going to be a better version right now. Whatever I know, I'm going to put the best out there.
Right.
And this is the best we could put out there, guys. And like, subscribe, and follow. Aniket's not there on social media, so I can't share his Instagram, Facebook handle with you. But someday he'll be there, and I'll edit the post in the description.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, guys, Aniket, can you say like, subscribe, share?
Like, subscribe, share, guys. That's the best I could do.